How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is a live stream post episode 11. How is everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's having a good day so far, good night, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, I hope it has been a good one. Whew, man, it has been one heck of a day. One heck of a day. But we are gonna wait for a few minutes and let a few people come and join us here. If you're out there in the if you're out in the world watching this, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're out there. Let's see. Make sure I have everything set up properly. There we go. Perfect. Like I said, we're just going to wait a few minutes, allow people to come in and hang out. Let's see. Make sure all my settings are appropriate. There we go. Okay, perfect. Think we got everything under control now. Give it a couple more minutes. Like I said, if you're out there, go ahead and give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're there. Let's see, yes, I do have that on. One of these days, I'm going to make a different scene just for live streams, just so I can just click one button. I don't have to tweak things in the background. I think that'll work out a lot better than the way I'm doing it at the moment. Let's see. And let's give it just one more minute before we get going. There we go. Alright, so, like I said, how is it going, everybody? I hope everybody's had a fantastic day so far. Like I said, it has been a really good day over here, but there's also been quite a few problems going on. So we're now about a year almost into this Let's Play series, in-game, obviously. And I'm starting to see some problems crop up in the game. And I'm not quite sure what's going on. So I had mentioned, I believe it was in the last live stream, where the goat, or one of my sheep was just out in the middle of a field somewhere. I believe it was somewhere, I think it was like up and around here somewhere, like in field 77, I believe. He was just hanging out there, just doing his thing. There was the issue we had with the white grapes and the red grapes, where I did something that would change the land state. So plowed, I also cut the grass, mulched the grass, that's the word I'm looking for. And it just completely destroyed all the grapes. All of them. It just deleted them, basically. The poles were still there, but the grapes weren't. So I had did some testing in the background, and that's when we went through and we just redid the entire thing. We just started right over from the beginning and just went forward from there and got it built up about as close as I could get it. You know, I made meticulous notes about what the previous save had and then kind of moved on from there. So it was just one of those, like, problem after problem, but the problem just keeps cropping up, and they're all relatively minor. The grape was a big one, particularly because of the storyline that's being told in the background of this Let's Play. And I didn't want to just accept that as the finale of that portion of the story. I wanted that portion of the story to be able to continue on, and something that is worked towards throughout the whole time that we're doing this Let's Play. So that's the whole reason why I had to reset it. Well, now we have another issue that just popped up. So as you can see, I've got all my bales just thrown out here. I ended up getting one of the big bag handlers because I went to take one out earlier, and in preparation for the live stream and all that stuff, just to kind of have things where I want them to be. And then I realized that when I popped out one of my silage bales, it actually spawned in the ground underneath the map. You could see it just barely hanging out, just barely hanging out. And when I noticed that, that's when I went to get this thing, because it could actually grab a hold of it underneath the ground. And I had to work. I had to work hard to get what bales I could out. But by the time everything was said and done, I had 18 silage bales. 18. There's 10 here. I lost 8 whole bales. They're under the map somewhere. Nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it at all. I hope that they eventually go away, or that because they're actually like underneath the playable version of the map, that they just kind of deregister from the creation. Because at any point in time on consoles, you can have what, 200 bales, I think it is, on the newest generation of consoles. And I just hope that that's not now 192. I mean, if it is, it's not the worst thing and not the end of the world or the Let's Play. But this is going to have to be removed. I'm going to, most likely in the next Let's Play, go ahead and just take this out and put something else in place. I just don't know what yet. I have a few options, and I'm kind of kicking around a few things. We'll just kind of see how it all works out. But these are all going to hang out here for a while. Now, the hay bales, they worked out just fine. There was no issue with the hay bales whatsoever, and I was really happy to see that, because I was going to be absolutely devastated if not only I was going to lose out on the silage bales, but then I was also going to miss out on some of my hay bales as well. But thankfully, these all spawned properly. It was just something with the silage bales that just completely threw it for a loop. I don't know what. I don't know if it's because the silage bales and how I made the bales. I don't know if it's because they were, they were in the tube wrapping and then I unwrapped them and then loaded them in. I don't know. But I also noticed that when they were spawned here, like actually inside the building, to have that kind of visual representation, there was the, 6 or so, actually I think there was 8 hay bales, and they were all stacked up here just fine. But the ones that were the silage bales, they were actually like stacked up underneath the hay bales and under the ground, under this ground texture here. So I don't know what is going on. I don't know why it happened, what the story is with this particular building, but I'm hoping that if I just rip this out, because thankfully you can, you can delete it. I can get 14 grand for it, and I should be able to replace it with something that's going to have either just as much storage or, even more, hopefully, knock on wood, for roughly around the same price. Like I said, I've got some options. Thankfully, this is one of the features that when Giants pushed this out, this is one feature where people really seem to take hold of it and really utilize it to a good degree and repurposed it into many different looking mods and all that stuff. So it was really nice that they did that. But yeah, no, so that's one of the issues that's been just cropping up in the background. So I really like this map. At the end of the day, this map is, I think, really gorgeous. It's got a lot of cool features on it, but there's a lot of bugs on it as well. There's a lot of issues, and there was an update here recently, and I think that update fixed the grapes. I'm not going to test it on this map, on this Let's Play series. I might test it in the background where I can then finally do a full cycle of grape harvesting from start to finish kind of thing, because what I essentially had to do was the normal process, because when I first came into this, There were grapes and they were ready to harvest. I harvested the grapes, and the normal process after you harvest, you mulch, you plow or cultivate, and then you fertilize, lime, things like that. You do all those kind of normal steps that we're used to doing for our fields, but you just do it for the vineyards and whatnot. Well, in this particular case, I skipped anything that changed the ground state and the ground texture. So the mulching didn't do that. Plowing and cultivating didn't do that either. So I know my yield is going to suffer from it. I think mulching does like a 2% yield, and I think plowing is like 5 to 10% maybe, somewhere in that ballpark. So I'm possibly missing out on somewhere in the vicinity of like 10%, give or take, for grapes. I'm gonna have a 10% deficiency from the maximum yield that I could normally have. Now, I should get a much better yield once I have harvesting time come around for this particular cycle, but that's only because when you first come onto a map, typically it's not fully, fertilized. It's not limed. It's just, here it is, ready to harvest, have fun kind of thing. So it's one of those, you kind of, you have really nowhere but up to go from that point. So here's hoping. So like I said, this is where this is going to stay. I can go ahead and get rid of this big bag handler for now, because I don't necessarily want to, I didn't want to use the straps and handlers for this particular Let's Play, but the reason I did this, like I said, is because this can actually reach in and actually grab things from underground. But, oh, and you know what, that's the other thing, is the pallet forks that I have. The pallet forks are like warping through the ground. So if we go over here, I wonder if it's still doing it. Yeah, see, you can see they're just kind of, stuck in the ground. I can still grab them with the telehandler. It's not like I can't utilize them anymore, but it's just one of those, like, just kind of a bummer when everything's said and done. So I said I was going to get rid of that. There we go. So yeah, for right now, this is where all this stuff's going to just hang out, kind of in this little drive area here. Whoa, no, don't do that. Just want to push these just a little ways to get them more off to the side. There we go. Make a little bit more room. Perfect. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this away. We don't need this anymore. Well, actually, we are going to need this because we've got a couple of contracts we got to work on. It's the reason why we're here. It's to work on things in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have a worker drive this up to the shop, and then I'm going to take the New Holland with the bale trailer up to the shop as well. I've got a couple of tedding contracts, hay contracts. So I've got to get a tedder for these particular contracts, and I think I have one in mind. Now, normally I don't buy equipment on these kind of live streams. I don't do anything that's going to necessarily affect the story, but a tedder is not really going to be one of those integral parts where, it's going to drive the story or anything like that. So I feel like I can get away with it, per se. So I'm going to grab the New Holland, like I said. Going to grab the bale trailer because we're going to have more bales to do. Now, which, okay, 105. Ooh, that's the big one. And then 104 just down this. Ooh, that actually works out quite nicely. So, because I'm using my equipment, my tractors, my baler, all that stuff, I can just kind of do this smartly and not have to worry about, taking equipment kind of back and forth and do all that stuff. I don't have to utilize just one set of equipment for the field because I'm borrowing it from that particular farmer. And that's how I try and do things is unless I notice it's the same exact farmer for just two different fields, then I will tend to utilize only the equipment that is specific to that contract. So it's just one of those. Um, I know you don't have to. I know you don't have to play with that amount of realism or anything like that. You can just take whatever contract equipment is the biggest and best and just kind of slam through it. But it's one of those, like, I guess it's just the way my brain works and how I process it. You know, I don't want to necessarily utilize somebody else's equipment for somebody else's contract kind of thing. And again, that's my own kind of how I play the game, but you can utilize it for other things. Uh, and let me emphasize, this is all like for the story kind of thing during the actual Let's Play episodes. It's not like here on the behind the scenes and stuff. I'll utilize whatever equipment I have to be able to just get it done, kind of thing. Because we're here to just hang out and not really be too concerned with realism or anything like that. We're just kind of hanging out, doing our thing. So it's not anything where we have to be, hugely like realistic and really kind of down to the nitty gritty detail kind of thing. So it all works out in the end, I think. But this way also we get full value of the contracts. We're not paying that leasing fee and whatnot for the pieces of equipment that we eventually just have to utilize anyways from other farmers. There we go. So let's grab the mowers. I am pretty pleased with this mower. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to like it. Even though it's very similar to a couple of other mower types that you get. The, what is it? The Kubota mower that you get. You also get the... I mean, technically it works similar to the... oh goodness, that's just going to drive me nuts. Why can't I remember it? Pottinger. Yeah, it essentially works the same as the Pottinger, and not the one... Yeah, here it is. The Kubota here, and this one here, the Convertland from the Ultimate Mowing Pack. It essentially works the same exact way. It's just got a swather in the back to where it will you'll make yourself a nice little windrow. You're not having to worry about like rebaling and doing all the extra stuff. You just can kind of slam it out and go. And that's something else I noticed on this map too. If you watch the traffic, if you're just driving around and all of a sudden like the traffic will just kind of stop, come to a stop in the middle of the road kind of thing, and then all of a sudden they'll just like, I guess for lack of a better word, spurg out and just kind of start jutting around doing 360 spins in the middle of the air. And it's weird. Like there's just certain issues on this map that it's just specific to this map. Now I've seen something similar on one other map, and that was on Gwendel's New Lands, where the traffic just kind of did its thing. You're driving around, all of a sudden just come to a dead stop and then start doing like spins in the middle of the road. And it was just wild. Now, oh, so you do have to draw those in every time. I gotta remember that. Why is that so far? Swath dropping. Huh. It just seems like that swath is really wide. Let's see. So I'm not seeing anybody out in the chat there. If you're out there, go ahead and give yourself a shout out, like I said. Unfortunately, I don't get a kind of running list of who all joins in the middle of things, so I can't see who's out there until you actually give yourself a shout out. So just let me know if you're out there. Let's see. So let's That is the one nice thing I do really like about this map, is the fact that you can actually cut and destroy the shrubs and stuff on this map. I really like that, and I wish there were more maps that did that. Oh, turn. There we go. And you can see how I'm just overhanging the side of the field, and that way I get a little bit extra from the left side to just be able to collect it. It's just a little bit extra that we can utilize and make bales for, and in this case we're going to be getting hay for our efforts, but you know, if you can get a little bit of extra free product, then it'd be kind of silly not to. And I really was out far there. I didn't mean to go this far out. That's alright though. Ooh, this is gonna struggle going up the hill. Oh, and I forgot about the electrical pole right there too. Gonna have to work around that. That's alright though. I think what I'll do is I'll make 2 passes, 2 full headlands, and then I'll just hire a worker just to let them go at it. And that way there'll be more than enough space around the outer edge of the fields here that will hopefully allow the worker to kind of do their thing and work the way that they're intended to work. This is one of the few mowers I can think of too where it actually doesn't cut in reverse. It only works in one direction, which is not the way a mower would work as far as I'm aware. I can't think of a single mower in real life to where you can only kind of go in one direction. Now there is a feeding direction for just about every mower. It's more efficient if you pull in one direction, but if you actually cut in reverse, you still should get something, cutting backwards. Let's see. So we're just going to keep on working around and going at it. Let's see. Hey Nathan, thanks for joining us. How are you doing tonight? So this map, Nathan, this is the Hills of Tuscany. It's a nice little Italian map, but as I was mentioning just a little while ago, there are a few issues that I'm finding as I continue with my Let's Play series. All rather small, minor issues, nothing that's, world-ending or game-changing, but it is mainly just nuisances, but at the end of the day, not a huge deal. So, let's see. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just finish the second pass of this headland, so that way we can let the kind of worker go do their thing and hopefully, not run into too many issues along the way. Because as I'm sure many of us are aware, how the AI just loves to find some kind of issue and not do the full job that you want them to do. There we go. And let's get to the top of this hill, and this is where we'll turn the worker loose. There we go. Oh, the struggle is real. I think I can. Come on, little New Holland. I tell you what, though, I am very happy with this particular tractor, with this New Holland. I got this tractor at a very, very good price. When I get the worker going, I'll bring that up, because Well, thank you, Mod Hub, because if I had to get this same or similar tractor, probably spending probably double what I spent on it. There we go. So this particular tractor is a New Holland, I believe a T7. There we go. So let's turn them loose. Let's confirm that. Yeah, T7 310. So it's got 310 horsepower. And if we look under medium tractors, the comparable New Holland, here we go, T7. We got the 313 horsepower, $227,500 base price starting. That's really expensive. But this one, base price $152,000 with it fully maximized. I think it was, nope. Yeah, $167,000 for 3 less horsepower than the base game T7. And yeah, so many different options. You can have 3-point front weights. You can have different fender options. You can have the trumpets and the extra lights. Different wheel configurations. It's just really nice. And then you get all the really cool, New Holland colors from old to new kind of thing. So you got the dark blue, the special kind of shine, the really light blue but shine. Oops. And then you got the old, I believe this is more like the Baylor color that New Holland goes with. But then you got the special, and then you got the black, which I think the black's actually really sharp. But I wanted the blue. I wanted to be the kind of iconic New Holland kind of color, because I do think that that's a really sharp looking color. Now, if it wasn't just a glorified Ford, which, I mean, I have nothing against Ford for agriculture equipment. I actually had an old Ford tractor, not a riding mower, but a really small. I forget what model it was, but it was, I think. I can't even remember what the model of it was, but it was a nice little tractor. It worked just fine, but I've had many Ford's cars in my lifetime, and I always end up regretting it when everything's all said and done. I sit there and it's like, why did I do that? And I know why. It's I get a discount through Ford Motor. My grandfather used to work for Ford, and we can use one of his old employee discounts, kind of thing, because he gets like the family discount. So that's nice, but if the car's not worth it, the car's not worth it, even with a discount. So, long story short, not a big Ford fan. But it is what it is. Let's see. So let's go ahead and finish this off. So Nathan, if you're out there, let me ask you a question. We briefly get to talk on comments and things like that. So is there a particular map that you're playing on? Do you have any kind of game series going at the moment on any particular map? Let's see. Here we go. And now we'll turn the worker loose. And hopefully go in this kind of east-west direction. The worker will be able to go at full speed. We won't have to, slow down or do anything unnecessary. Let's see. So it looks like they're going to cut just fine. Nice. Very happy with that. Let's see. Feel like see, I'm just checking some settings right now just to make sure that everything's all set up proper. I was checking something not this afternoon, but right before the stream, and that's when I realized that something just wasn't adding up and whatnot. Let's see. So we got the rest of this field, and then we have the rest of 104 to mow. And after this, we're going to have to... Oh, I didn't even notice the worker didn't do that. See, I was off staring at my computer screen. I wasn't looking at the actual game going on. See, even when you try your best to make sure that the game is going to have, enough room to, to do what it's supposed to do, to be able to do the job that you intend them to do, in this case to mow, even when you go through all that painstaking labor to get everything going, it just finds a way. The AI, it's like Jurassic Park, it finds a way. But in this case, the workers will find a way to mess everything up. But at the end of the day, you just gotta roll with it. Just gotta roll with it. Because it is what it is, and certainly could be worse. I mean, I've seen where I'll be doing some kind of job, and all of a sudden the worker just kind of starts running off in the middle of some other field. And I've actually had it. This is actually a really funny story. I was harvesting one time, and it was for a contract. So as many of us know, contracts are very specific to the field that you're on. But on this particular map, I believe it was Iowa Plains View, and it was a Let's Play I was doing on there. On this particular field, I was harvesting in I believe it was like a north-south direction, and there was a field right on top of the field that I was next to. So there were like no seam in between the two fields. Like when I say like this is a seam, like this gap in between these two fields. So really, this is the end of this field, and this is the start of this field over here. This is the seam in between. Well, when I say that there was no seam, that literally this field start, there was a gap maybe like this wide, and then the next field. Well, when I turned the worker loose, what had happened is they had gotten to this end of the field and just continued on. And they were all the way into the next field just harvesting their stuff. And thankfully, it was all product from like the same type. So they were both the same product type. I believe it was canola in both of the fields. And what ended up happening is I just let the worker go until they couldn't go. And I just had tons of extra material on that because I got to harvest the neighboring field. So, and I got my trailer over to there, I unloaded it, reloaded it. It was just, the worker kept working. And then once it finally got to a spot to where it wasn't going to be able to make the kind of return journey back to the real field where the contract was, that's when I turned it off and brought it back to that field. I ended up doing the edge, the headland on that field to where it would then create that kind of buffer zone to where it wouldn't go into the neighboring field, or at least it wouldn't attempt to go into the neighboring field. And then finally, just at the end of the day, just kind of conked out and finally did the work that I was intending it to do. So sometimes the worker messes up and really takes things away from us, and makes us do more effort that we may not necessarily want to do. But sometimes it works out to our advantage. Sometimes those little mistakes that they make are happy mistakes. So at the end of the day, I was able to just kind of nod and smile and be like, okay, I'll remember that for next time. I'll remember to cut out the headlands. And what was really cool is that after completing the contract, You know how when you complete a contract and it will update the field to kind of whatever state the contract was for, it'll update it to the end state of that particular contract. Well, for this particular field where I'd gone into it, it didn't do that. So half the field was harvested, the other half wasn't, until I got the contract for that field. And as soon as I got the contract for that field, boom, it respawned and brought everything back up to speed, to where I could then harvest everything off of that field like I'd never even touched it. So it was kind of cheaty, but it was one of those where, technically I stole product from their land, and then when everything was said and done, it just regrew. So it worked out, and I got a bunch of extra product at the end that I didn't have to do too much for besides the work. So it's like I said, it was a nice little oopsie that the game made for me. So I was happy about that. Let's see. Just about done with this. And then we'll go and do what field was it again? 104. So we got 105 and 104. Let's go ahead and just there. Perfect. Oops, there we go. I thought I folded that in. There we go. I tell you what, any one of my tractors I had before this New Holland, it would have been struggling to get up this hill. It really just any hill. If there was any sort of weight, if I was towing a trailer, anything, they would just completely struggle. It makes sense because they're about 100 horsepower less than what this tractor does. So I think the Valmet, my biggest tractor before trading them in, was 190 horsepower. This is 310 horsepower. So got a little extra than 100 horses for this particular tractor. And yeah, I am very happy about that. Very happy that I don't have to struggle as much with those other tractors. Let's see, let's fold that down, turn that on. Wait. Oh, that is something I don't like about this particular mower. I have to remember to bring those edges in and that rear deck, otherwise the swath is huge. Come on, tractor, you can do it. You can do it. There we go. All right. So again, like always, we're just going to make us a nice little headland. And this field should be a lot easier than the previous one because there's no obstructions in it. There's no radio towers or electrical towers, I should say, that's going to interfere with us being able to do what we need to do. Which is nice. It's nice that it's nice when you get those fields where you do have things in there like objects in the way and whatnot. It makes it feel like a little bit better of a challenge, but it's also nice to get these kind of fields where you're just able to do the job. There we go. So I think again I'm going to do 2 passes. Nice. So it's really funny, and I'm not quite sure why this happened, but when I first started playing Farming Simulator, what I really looked for in a map were the kind of maps that, I don't call them simple, but they were very worker friendly. They would allow you to just kind of come on and go kind of thing. Which I guess, now that I'm kind of saying this out loud, kind of makes sense. When you're first new to the game, you kind of want to just start out slow. But as I've, you know, progressed and played this game longer and longer and longer, I've started to really like these kind of maps where there's a lot of undulations, a lot of areas in where the workers are going to struggle, and they're not going to do, as good of a job as they would if there was just a flat piece of land and you were just kind of letting them go to town kind of thing. And I think that that's changed because of just the amount of time and experience I've gotten on this map, or not on this map, but on this game. And the more that you play, the more that you want to kind of find new and greater challenges. And I think that's kind of where I'm at this point. So I did a map tour recently for, oh goodness, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Let's see, let me bring up the mod hub just real quick, because I can't for the life of me remember what it was called. I think, was it Corinthia? I think it was Corinthia. Yes, it was Corinthia. Okay, so that map is Farming Simulator 22 on hard mode. And what I mean by that is the way that map is designed is in such a way that it's just crazy. It is just absolutely crazy. The amount of undulations that are on that map, the elevation changes from one location to the next is so extreme that I was saying on the tour that you have to be so mindful of the equipment you have. You cannot just get away with getting a small piece of equipment or a piece of equipment that's just going to be right to do whatever job it is that you're looking to do. You have to get something that's not only far stronger than what you're more than likely used to. Why is that not cutting? Oh, okay, so there's a big dip right there. I'll have to go back over that section right there. But not only are you going to have a piece of equipment that is right for whatever job that you're doing, but you're also going to have to get it so overpowered to be able to have enough strength to get up and down the hills on that particular map. That map is crazy difficult. It's not one for the faint of heart. It's not one for somebody who just is trying to learn the game. It's essentially Erlengrot on steroids. That's what I feel like that map is it's just so hilly and mountainous, where it actually makes that background of the map, like that giant hill in the background there, you can practically say mountain peak, it actually makes those peaks make sense. Like this map, like those mountain peaks are almost unrealistic for the terrain that's available on this particular map. But for that map, Corinthia, that map is just, it fits so much with the mountainous peaks in the background. It really makes sense, and it really looks good with that background. And yeah, it's a cool map. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and give it a look. You can look up one of my map tours for it. Not one of mine, I've only done one. You can look up my map tour for it, or download it from the mod hub yourself and check it out, because it's like I said, it's going to be a challenge. It's not something that you can just buy basic equipment and just kind of go to town. It's one where you really have to think about what it is that you're going to do and then get something double what you would normally get, kind of thing. Something with the amount of strength needed to be able to not only work the implement, but then be able to go up and down very steep, mountainy hills. And the map maker themselves in the description actually said, like, this is, I believe, inspired by where they live, kind of thing. I forget exactly how they worded it. Here, I'm going to take a drink real quick. Much better. But essentially they were saying how it's, you know, inspired based off of how the area that they live. And I kind of dawned on me, it's like, wow, I would love to see an area like that. If that's like based off a real life kind of thing, I would love to see that. So, and it said it was, you know, how did they put it? Basically, they said that the area that they made was of their own imagination, but inspired by the region that they live in. So, like I said, I would love to see that in real life because that just looks stunning. Now, there were a lot of problems with that map that I was incredibly disappointed about. Incredibly disappointed about. The road textures were, I don't want to use a word this strong, but they were terrible. They were absolutely terrible, in my opinion. It's one of those that there was no three-dimensional texturing on some of the roads. So you had the muddy back roads and the kind of gravelly roads, and they just looked flat and just terrible. They just looked bad. And anytime that you go on one of those back roads like that, I made a mention on the towards the end when I was rendering my opinion, I basically said how the map is so immersive because of how the layout of the map is. It's so incredibly immersive in that regard, but then all of a sudden you get to one of those roads and there's certain areas of the map where you're going to have to take. If you want to go to the biogas plant, you got to take one of those roads. If you want to go to certain sell points, you got to take those roads. And the problem is that because of that, you're going to get those immersion breaks, those times where you're just kind of in the zone wanting to play the game kind of thing, but then all of a sudden you're just jolted out of the reality that they built for you kind of thing. And I hope that kind of makes sense how I'm putting that, because like I said, you can kind of go around and use this map as kind of your example or your template, but you kind of go around, and I imagine, you know, this is what Italy would look like if I were in Italy, you know, or at least, you know, a specific region of Italy. And I can kind of lose myself in the immersion that the map maker has created in this particular map. Well, with that map there, whenever you get onto those side roads where they're just very flat and glass-like, there's just nothing to leave you in that immersion. It's just really jarring. It's that bad. So it's one of those, I wish the map maker, I hope the map maker will come through and redesign those roads and retexture them, because it looks like they put so much time and so much effort into that map, and then all of a sudden, just one day, like, nope, I'm done with this, not gonna deal with this anymore kind of thing. And that's kind of how it looks. Yes, perfect. So now I'll be able to come back through with the baler and just not have to worry about windrowing it or doing anything like that. I can just one pass kind of thing, not have to struggle with doing multiple passes, which will be nice. Let's see. Oops. So like I mentioned before, if there's anybody out there, anybody wants to ask a question or wants to talk about anything in particular, feel free to throw it in the chat and let me know that you're out there. Uh, it's one of those, unfortunately, I don't have like a roll call or anything like that that tells me who's out there at any given point in time. I only have the comments to be able to know that there's people out there, and you know, people who are actually, you know, listening to the Let's Play and the live stream. So like I said, give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're out there, and if there's something that you want to chat about, we can go ahead and chat about it. Let's see. So we're gonna go ahead and I really do like this this tedder. This is a really nice tedder, specifically because it actually allows you to keep the windrow. You don't have to do the tedding and then do a separate windrowing. It's just a one-stop shop, and it's cheap. It's so dirt cheap to get this thing. It's only $7,000, and if you've got the grass, or well, yeah, in this case grass, already in a windrow, then for the most part you're pretty much golden. Let's see. And it also doesn't require a lot of power, so when you're going up hills like this, you're able to just kind of power through it and not have to get bogged down with, you know, with anything else. Which, I mean, any tedder really on this game, they don't require a lot of horsepower, so it's not a huge deal to. I am just missing bits. There we go. So what I'm saying, it's not a big deal. Like, you're not gonna just get a tedder that takes up so much power and then all of a sudden you can't get anywhere going up a hill or something like that. There we go. Now I will say the only issue, quote unquote issue, with this particular tedder is the fact that you can't, well, you can, but you can't hire a worker with it. Now, if I wanted to, I could hit the hire worker button and it would go in a straight line, but then after that particular row is done, there's nothing for the worker to do beyond that point. They'll basically just maintain a straight line kind of thing. Like right now, I've got a worker going at it and whatnot, so you can kind of hire a worker for each row kind of thing, and that's kind of a nuisance, but it's also nice that you can kind of maintain that nice straight path that makes the baling portion a lot easier as well. Oh man, I don't know why, but I am really thirsty today. I've been drinking a lot of water here lately. Let's see. Let's go ahead and minimize that. Now you can see the worker will attempt to work. They will attempt to continue to work as long as they register some kind of product. But oops. But they won't really do a great job. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, we're just going to keep on working on this and kind of rolling on through. It's just one of those where, oops, there we go. It looks like I missed a little smidge right there. Perfect, there we go. And get that. There we go. Like I said, it is nice to hire a worker with this just because it allows you to keep that straight path, that straight line. You're not going to be, potentially drifting and going all over the place. Especially on roads where you've actually used a worker before, like these ones here, they're already pretty straight. You can then, maintain that straight line, and it just makes bailing so much easier. You don't have to sit there and struggle, going off center. And especially with some of the bailers on this game, they have a very narrow pickup window. Um, Thankfully, the baler that I chose doesn't have that issue. It actually has a slightly larger than normal pickup, which is nice. It's so convenient to have that, because then you don't have to necessarily get like a windrower or anything along those lines. As long as you have just a somewhat maintained and upkept line, then you'll be able to absorb it relatively easy. So yeah, see, that's like I said, it works very nice to hire a worker with this particular piece of equipment. At the end of the day, this is a really nice, and what's really cool about this one too is, I've said this a few times, the animation for the haymaking is really cool. I really like it. It's probably one of the best animations that this game produced. Um, but for this one here, I think it's actually kind of a cut above, because then not only are you getting the flicking out animation, but you're also getting the flick with kind of the guards that are drawing it into the windrow. You're getting those where it'll like channel it into the kind of cone, into the windrow is the word I'm looking for. And it's nice. It's real cool that you can kind of not only get that flick that we are used to seeing with all the other tedders, but then you also get the kind of additional kind of funneling in. See, I almost had that whole thing almost. Let's see. So this one has the pole in the middle of it, so we'll just go through here. Let's see. I didn't even notice I missed that little section of grass there. Oh well. Very tiny, not the end of the world. Let's see. Let's back on up. Pull forward. So this feels like one of the quietest live streams that I've done in, well, probably since when I first started live streaming, really. I think I only have like one chat from Nathan, and then nothing else, no responses, no nothing. So I don't know, just awful quiet out there. Like I said, give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're out there. If anybody's there, just like I said, there's no window that tells me tells me that there's somebody out there other than the chat. So give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're there. And like I said, if there's something that you want to discuss, go ahead and bring it up. We'll, if it's, as long as it's within the realms of, what's the word I'm looking for? As long as it's a topic within good taste, then we can very much dive into it. I guess I can't think of the word, that it just left my brain for some reason. I had it and then lost it. But yeah, just go ahead and let's see. Oh, you know what? It just dawned on me that I didn't send out a notification to all my channels. Darn, that, you know what? Let me do that real fast, because that could be part of the reason why. Let's see, create a post. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Post that. And now we just make the rounds to the other socials. Completely forgot. I don't know how I forgot to do that. That's normally one of the first things I do, is queue up all the social medias so I don't forget, and I just forgot. Let's see. That's what I was looking for, is this one exactly. We'll go ahead and do this. Letting everybody know on Instagram. I'll share that. Can't forget about Facebook, even though they're pretty much one and the same. There we go. And last but not least, Twitter, now known as X. And there we go. That is rather frustrating. I cannot believe I completely forgot to post all that stuff. That's such a bummer. Oh well. And now we can minimize that again. There, perfect. Now let's get back to work. Oh man. So here lately, I don't know what got me to start watching this, but here lately I've been going on to YouTube whenever I get a free moment, and oftentimes I'll just have it up in the background kind of thing, just something to make noise. And I've been watching dash cam footage a lot here lately, and it just completely blows my mind on some of the things that people will do, and either that they think it's okay or that they just don't care. It's just mind-boggling, the things that like watching these YouTube channels with dash cam footage and stuff like that. Like what's the one I've been watching here? Like, I think it's called Wham Bam, and there's like 4 or 5 different sub channels to this, but there's like Wham Bam Tesla Cam, there's Wham Bam Dash Cam, um, and just all these different kind of channels that are out there, and it's just wild to see like people texting on their phone. They cause massive accidents. Um, Drunk drivers. Ooh, speaking of drunk drivers, so about 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember the exact time frame. I'd gone back to Michigan. Oh, you know what? It was in July. No, so it wasn't that long ago. I think it was in June, because it was for a graduation party. I was up in Michigan, and we had all decided the last minute. Myself and some family decided, you know what? We're gonna go up to uh, the upper lower portion of Michigan, the lower peninsula, and it's right there by the Mackinac Bridge. And for anybody who's familiar with the Mackinac Bridge, it's a massive, massive bridge, but there's a little town right on the southern portion of the bridge, and you can actually park right there at the feet of the bridge and walk like underneath the bridge, and just kind of be right there on Lake, on that side I think it's Lake Huron, and then on the other side it's Lake Michigan. Well, where was I going with this? Oh, so sorry, I just kind of forgot where I was talking about there. But anyways, so we were driving back, and it was may have been like, I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock at night. Like it's still daylight outside, and we're driving, and I catch up to this car. I'm maybe doing 70, 75, and I'm catching them like I'm doing 105. Like it's ridiculous how slow they were going. And then I realized as I'm getting closer and closer and closer that they're just weaving all over the road. Like they were 3 sheets to the wind drunk, is my best guess. And they are not able to maintain their lane. They're just coming in and out of traffic. And this being the upper portion of the lower peninsula, there's no traffic to speak of. I mean, it's just nothing much going on besides me and this other person. So thankfully it's not, rush hour traffic and this person's driving that way kind of thing. And we're driving along, and all of a sudden they, say this? We're driving along, and I just flew by them. Like I said, I drove right past them, and I just left them in my dust like they were just standing still. Well, then all of a sudden they start catching me, and they're going like 85 or something like that. They're steadily catching up to me, which is making me want to go faster because I don't want them anywhere near me, because I'm watching them in the rearview mirror, and they're still just all over the road. They're not maintaining their lane. It is just a nightmare scenario, and it got so worrisome. It got to the point where I actually called the police. I don't think I've ever actually called the police on somebody's driving behavior before. It was actually like that wild, and they were like coming like within inches of hitting the guardrails. Like I said, they were at one point they were probably into the triple digits. That's how fast they were going. That's how they had fallen so far back, and then they just started flying down the road. And it was something I've never seen anything like this before, and it was only a few months ago, so I haven't seen it since either. So I called 911. It's like, look, you got a driver on the road. I don't know if there's a medical emergency. I don't know if they're drunk. I don't know. I just don't know. Please, send a trooper because something's wrong. And then finally, they're like, oh, yeah, okay, we know where you're at. We will go ahead and send somebody up right to you because we have somebody in the area. I guess there was somebody on the highway driving, in that particular area. And right as we were hanging up the phone with them, they end up, the driver ends up pulling off to a rest area. And we tell the we were able to let the operator know and say, hey, just before they hang up, that this person's just pulling off in the rest area. We gave them the good description of the car, that whole stuff, and said they just pulled off and went off to this rest area. Uh, you know, that's where you're gonna find them, kind of thing. And that's when we were able to hang up, and I don't know what, if anything, happened, but it's one of those that it was actually watching those kind of dash cam channels, and I used to watch them more than I do now, but it was watching those channels that actually made me go out and get a dash cam myself. And actually every single one of my vehicles has a dash cam, and actually it's actually part of the story. um, it was those channels on top of a situation that my father had gotten into. um, he had gotten into an accident where it was a double left turn, and as we were driving, or not as we were driving, as he was driving, the driver in the outermost left turn lane ended up drifting in out of his lane and into my father's, and actually smacked the side of my father's van at the time. And the guy got out of the car and it's like, oh, well, you hit me, and he just lied. He just flat out lied, the whole time. And that's what finally made me decide, it's like, you know what, it's a combination of luck and somebody else's word that's going to be the difference between you having the damages to your vehicle covered and them not covered. And dash cams are so cheap nowadays, and they're so easy to install, that there's really no excuse not to have one. You can get a good dash cam for like $60, and it'll record in 1080p. You can spend maybe $100 and get one that does 4K, like really, really good picture, like YouTube quality kind of stuff. And yeah, it's one of those that I would highly, highly recommend anybody to get a dash cam, who drives on a regular basis or not. That really doesn't matter. Just if you're a driver on the road, get a dash cam. You'll be shocked on how it'll protect you. And I actually had an incident where it protected my wife. Like I said, both of our vehicles have dash cams in them, and I will forever and always have a dash cam. So actually, she's actually been in 3 accidents. No, I'm sorry. She's been in, well, technically she's been in 3 accidents, but I was driving the one time. None of them were our fault. But she's wrecked our current car, or we've wrecked our current car twice, and both of them were on dash cam. And the one time was our old car. So we had an old Jeep Liberty, like a 2003 Jeep Liberty. And she was driving around. We had a dash cam front and rear. And she was driving around, and all of a sudden somebody just wasn't paying attention, rear-ended her. Just completely smashed her in the rear. Thankfully, no damage on our vehicle. Their car was trashed. And for anybody who doesn't know a Jeep Liberty, a small SUV style vehicle with a spare tire in the rear. And I think what had happened is that, for the most part, their front end hit against that tire, that spare tire, and that's what caused the majority of the damage. But what was scary is my wife and her sister were in the car with, I believe it was with her kids. I think it was my nieces were with her. And what had happened is, as soon as the person rear-ended my wife's car, they had jumped out of the car and ran. And not like a full dead sprint, but they had run, and they had gone out to, like, you can see them in the video, they'd gone out to the overpass of the bridge that they were next to. They just gotten off of a bridge, and he had gone to the railing of the bridge, and it looked like he dropped something on the other side of the railing and then came back. So it was one of those, nobody noticed it when it first happened, because the kids were upset, they were crying, you know, didn't know if they were hurt or anything like that. So it was one of those, everybody's attention was on them, making sure they were okay, and then kind of moved on to, okay, now let's assess the damage, kind of thing. And I only noticed it because I watched the dash cam and looking at the camera and seeing him just take off, and I pointed out, it's like, did you notice that he actually like left the scene, like he took off? And she's like, no, I had no idea that he had left, and I had shown it to her, and she's like, whoa, I wonder what happened. And then I'm like, look, it looks like he actually dropped something on the other side of the rail there. So I don't know, maybe he had drugs on him, or a firearm, something like that. It seemed like there was something that he was hiding, and it was because I wasn't there. It was rather intimidating. I was you know what? Intimidating is the wrong word. It was scary to see that, because I don't know, because my wife and her sister, my sister-in-law, they were there by themselves, and it's one of those that you don't know who you're going to bump into in life. You don't know if they're going to cause trouble. You don't know anything like that, but no insurance claim was made. No cops were called on that one because there was no damage on our vehicle, and I guess they didn't care. They ended up driving their vehicle off and whatnot. But because nobody noticed that, they kind of did the things that they did, um, they just kind of went on their merry way, kind of thing, and just really didn't much care. Right? It's not they didn't care. They did just no harm, no foul, kind of thing. Well, then the second time, the second crash that she had been in, I was driving, and what had happened there, and again, this is where dashcam really saved our butts. So we were driving on a side street, and we'd come to a intersection where two of the four ways of travel were stop signs. And I believe, so directionally it was east and west were the lanes that required you to stop, and then north and south, the direction of travel we were going in, those didn't require you to stop at all. So we were driving, and all of a sudden this person comes out of nowhere and sideswipes us. Good little T-bone. And again, got it all on video, and we're just, and the worst part about it is my wife at the time, she was either like 8 or 9 months pregnant. She was really far along, and it was one of those situations to where at the moment it happened, we didn't think anything of it, but we ended up, we were talking to the police and we are explaining everything and what from our point of view, and the lady, before we go into all the kind of things like that, so we were explaining everything from our point of view from the cops, and it's obvious to the cop that who's at fault, kind of thing. And this is actually where I learned that Florida, I knew Florida was a no-fault state, but I didn't necessarily understand what no-fault meant at the time. And the police will assign fault. What no-fault essentially is for insurance purposes, they will essentially make the payouts for your claim regardless of who's found at fault. So if the other person's found at fault, then their insurance will pick up the tab, kind of thing. They're required to. But if both parties are determined to be at fault or shared partial responsibility, then the insurance company essentially will, your insurance company will have to cover said event, kind of thing. And that's essentially what the no fault is that it will, the insurance company doesn't get to be like, okay, well, we're not going to cover you. They can terminate your policy afterwards if you make a claim, kind of thing. That's certainly within the realm of possibilities. You make a claim, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, well, after this, we're no longer covering you because we deem that you are too high a liability, kind of thing. So it's one of those that's kind of the loophole that they get out of. So, anyways, so we were explaining everything to the cop and saying, this is what happened. We were just driving along, and all of a sudden, she just didn't even attempt to stop. She just came through the stop sign and just did her thing. Well, the cop pulled me aside, and he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. We're finding her at fault, kind of thing. What she said, we had to kind of scold her over. So she was driving a Volvo, and it was a newer Volvo, and she had, I guess, explained to the cop that she anticipated the car to stop at the stop sign, like a Tesla would do. And the cop, I guess, looked at her and said, "Ma'am, this isn't a Tesla. This car doesn't, do everything. It doesn't have autopilot, kind of thing." So, yeah, that was her excuses. She was anticipating the car to stop. The cop basically explained to her, well, it doesn't matter if you had it on autopilot and it didn't. That even if the autopilot failed, kind of thing. Even if this was a Tesla and the autopilot failed, you're ultimately responsible for making sure that the vehicle's under control at all times, kind of thing. So it's one of those where, at the end of the day, you know, regardless of the excuse, he found her at fault and we had the damages covered. Well, when we were kind of in the hustle and bustle, like I said, my wife was 8 or 9 months pregnant, and we weren't thinking about it at the time, but the cop had asked, do you need an ambulance, do you need somebody to come check you out, kind of thing. And neither one of us were hurt. We were only going, like, I think we were going like 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, and the other person was probably going around the same. So it was one of those, a light bump. My shoulder was a little sore, but not nothing damaged, nothing broken besides our vehicle. And at first we told them, no, everything's fine, a little sore, but, nothing that should require, an ambulance or anything like that. Well, then my wife ended up talking to one of her sisters who's I think at the time she was a RN. Now she's the next level higher, like is it LPN? Licensed practicing nurse. Anyways, not that important. She's in the medical field, and she's like, hey, you should go get checked out because you don't know if any issues happen to the baby, and even a light bump could hurt the baby, kind of thing. So you should get checked out. And then that's when all of a sudden my wife went into panic mode. She's like, oh my, I didn't think about that, kind of thing. And she started like really getting upset and really started to worry. And then I pulled the cop aside and was like, hey, my wife, she's 8 or 9 months pregnant at the time, and it just dawned onto her that, she's pregnant and that she was in a collision, and she's starting to kind of panic. Can you please have an ambulance come just to check her out, kind of thing. And they're like, oh yeah, no, of course. And he's like, you don't have to worry about nothing because obviously her insurance is going to cover this because she's going to be at fault and all that stuff. And it's like, well, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about, one, my wife, and two, my daughter. And we had gone through a lot to get my daughter. We had to go through IVF and all that stuff. So when everything was all said and done, it was more, panicking over, oh my, did we go through all the trials and tribulations of IVF just to all of a sudden have it ripped away? That's what was running through at that point, both of our minds, but more so hers and mine. Did we go through everything that we went through to all of a sudden now lose it, kind of thing? Because of somebody's negligence, because of somebody's carelessness, thinking that their car did something that it clearly doesn't do, kind of thing. So the cop's like, oh, don't worry about it, it's covered by their insurance, it's going to be covered by their insurance because she's at fault and all that stuff. It's like, well, I'm not concerned about that, just want to make sure that she's okay and that the baby's okay. they're like, oh yeah, no, understandable. So they call the ambulance out, and they come out in maybe 2 minutes. Like they were there super super fast, and they basically come to check out my wife, and basically they can't do anything for her on the side of the road there. They're like, well, we can take you to the hospital and have you fully evaluated there, kind of thing. And it was at that point my wife's like, well, I don't really want to go in the ambulance because I couldn't go with her because we had the car and it was still drivable. Now, with hindsight, I probably shouldn't have driven it. It wasn't in the best of conditions to drive, kind of thing. It may not have been safe for either one of us to drive in, and she should have probably gone in the ambulance to, like, I was fine driving it, but I wasn't fine at the same time. Um, but she declined the ambulance ride, and instead just had them do whatever they could there on the side of the road, and we went in for further evaluations later. And thankfully, nothing was wrong. Everything was fine. The doctor basically said, look for these kind of symptoms, and if anything happens, go to the hospital immediately, kind of thing. Don't wait, just go, kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, we know what to look for. And my wife wasn't in any discomfort. She wasn't hurt or feeling any pain, but it was just one of those, just to have the medical professionals look at her, just to have that ease of mind, that peace of mind, kind of thing. So it was one of those. It was a real scary moment, but because she'd said the things that she said, we were able to then provide the footage to the insurance provider, and it was basically an open and shut between the police report and the dash cam. And we ended up showing the cop the dash cam on the side of the road. He said, I don't need to see it. I can obviously tell, based on the intersection, based on your direction of travels and all that stuff, that she's at fault. But for sake of argument, let's go ahead and bring it up and do it that way. So super super nice, amazing officers. Huge shout out to them, because they were incredible. They were absolutely the nicest officers I've ever met in my entire life. And from what I understand, or no, I'm sorry, that's the next story. So so yeah, everything was fine there. We had everything covered. We got the car back, probably about 2-3 months later. Well, then the most recent accident that this one my wife was involved in, she had left and gone down the road, and she was going, I think she was going shopping at like some like clothes shopping or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was her and my daughter in the car, and my daughter at this point was born, and she was driving down the road, and all of a sudden somebody pulled out of a McDonald's parking lot and like sideswiped her and hit her so hard that after the collision, the other driver, I don't know if they panicked or whatever, they just didn't hit the brakes, and they ended up driving into this little culvert that's on the outside of the McDonald's, and she ended up having like a huge like gash on her forehead. She was bleeding everywhere, so she ended up calling my wife called the cops. She had a small child in the back of her car, a little boy. My wife had our daughter in the car, so it was just a nightmare scenario. And again, thankfully it wasn't a huge crash at huge speeds kind of thing, but it was one of those that, because there was a fair bit of blood and all that stuff, because I think what happened is she'd hit her head on the steering wheel, and it just gashed her head. Anybody who's seen a forehead cut, it bleeds a lot, more than anything else. Hey, the official New Bed Wars, how's it going? How's it going? How are you doing tonight? Sorry, I keep getting distracted with a bunch of different things that are popping up on my computer for some reason. It's going good. It's good. It's Going good? Awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. I was actually telling a story about dash cams and why they're so vital for anybody who's driving. If you have a car, get a dash cam. But how you're doing good? Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. But so, anyways, wife got sideswiped in the parking lot. There was a lot of blood coming from the other driver who had hit my wife, and looking at it, she didn't even stop coming out of the parking lot. She ended up just rolling right through the stop sign, sideswiping my wife, and she had rolled into this little embankment right there next to the McDonald's, and it was just wild. It was just completely wild, and she had basically what her excuse was is she said that my wife had her turn signal on and she was assuming that my wife was pulling into the parking lot, which, I mean, there was a traffic light further down the road, and my wife, she doesn't remember whether or not she had the blinker on or not, but the cop basically told her, it's like, well, again, it's your responsibility to yield until traffic is cleared, kind of thing. And again, cop found her at fault. And again, super nice cops. They were, again, super nice, because what had happened is, as soon as the accident happened, my wife calls me and says, I've been in an accident, get up here now, kind of thing. Well, unfortunately, she doesn't explain anything of what happened. She's just, because my daughter's sitting there crying in the background, so she's trying to tend to her. So because she doesn't say anything and doesn't tell me, she just tells me where they're at and then hangs up the phone. So I, in panic mode, hear my daughter crying, my wife's, obviously upset, because my daughter's crying and had just gotten into an accident. So she's just sitting there, like, I go into panic mode. I start freaking out and I start driving like a banshee, getting up to them. And thankfully everyone's fine and all that stuff, besides the woman who had a gash on her forehead, and I think she had to go to the hospital to get stitches. But because she had said the things that she said, that led me to say to the cops, like, look, all of our cars have dash cams. Do you want me to go ahead and pull you the dash cam? And they're like, yeah, that would, that'd be great. Even though, again, they knew who was at fault based on, where the accident had occurred and the direction of travel, kind of thing. So they didn't need to see it, but they're like, anything to kind of firm down everything is good, kind of thing. Well, again, super nice cops. They were really amazing, and this particular case, they had every reason not to be as nice as they were. And I don't mean like they had reason to be rude, but they, I guess earlier, right before they had shown up, one officer had gotten into a shootout and was shot by some random person. I don't know if they were killed in the line of duty or if they were just injured. Hopefully they weren't they weren't hurt or anything like that, or they were obviously hurt, but hopefully they weren't killed or anything like that. It was just, they had every reason to just be, sullen and just in an awful mood, because I know I would be if somebody I worked with was all of a sudden, shot and hurt like that. I would be in a terrible mood. I would be inconsolable at that point, kind of thing. I said this in a couple of live streams ago, because we had a former cop actually come to the channel during the live stream. Oh goodness, now that's going to drive me nuts because I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but I have access to their name. Rusty Money. That's it. That's their name. Rusty Money Gaming. They were a former cop, and oh goodness, I got stuck on a detail, and now I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Oh, so it got to talking about how how nice they were, even though they had every reason not to be. But at the same time, it's one of those you know, oh, that's the point I was making is I don't have the temperament to be a police officer, because if I were to see some of the things that the police, you know, see on an everyday basis, then I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I'd be one of those awful cops who would take out his emotions on the people, you know, performing these awful acts of violence and you know, just the scum of the earth kind of people. Like, you see the things that they do, you know, as a cop, and the type of people that they are. It's amazing that the police have the restraint that they have, and the temperament that they do have. And a funny little side story about the accident. So when I had gone up there, I had, um, you know, obviously I took my car to get up there, and I had parked. I had my windows down because the morning dew had still been on my car, so I couldn't see anything out of any of the windows. So I rolled all the windows down, and then I just drove up there, kind of thing. I didn't take the time to let the windows defrost and do all that stuff. So it was one of those, you know, just had to go be quick about it, kind of thing. And when I got in there, because again I was in panic mode because my wife didn't tell me anything, I had left my windows down, the car was unlocked, all that stuff. Well, when the police had gotten there, they had turned around and saw my car, with the windows open and the car unlocked, and they had walked up to it. And I didn't notice that they did this at the time, but they had walked up to it to check it out. And apparently, it's against the law in the state of Florida. I didn't know this until recently, to leave a vehicle unattended with windows down and all that stuff. It's basically it's a law that's basically supposed to prevent people from stealing the car itself. I didn't have keys in or anything like that, but they were. It's basically an unattended vehicle law. So if you're not in the vehicle actively with the windows down and you're out in public, then you can actually be ticketed for that. So when the cop had come back, and she had actually started making some not nasty comments, but some like, you know, that really drives me nuts. That really grinds my gears when, you know, people do this, because, you know, then they call us when their car is stolen. They call us when when their stuff's stolen out of their car, and it's their fault that it's stolen in the first place, kind of thing. And I totally understand where they were coming from, and I'm like, that's my car. And you could tell, like, the kind of wave of embarrassment that kind of came over her face, because she's like, oh. It's like, yeah, no, nobody's gonna steal with me, you know, steal anything with me standing right next to it. And she's like, okay, that makes more sense then, you know, thankfully, and she tells me, like, that kind of stuff happens all the time, where they get calls from people who had, you know, stuff stolen out of their cars, and, you know, they had entire cars stolen because somebody will leave their keys in it. She said that it happens all the time, where somebody just leaves their keys in it, leaves the car running, and then somebody will just walk up, see a car just ripe for the taking, and now all of a sudden they have to chase down a car and try and find it, or, you know, actually, like, chase it in, like, high speed pursuits. She said it's really common, because somebody stole a car, if they happen to find it on the road, that, you know, people aren't gonna just stop just because, you know, they're already actively breaking the law in a vehicle that they already stolen. So what's, you know, high speed pursuit to add to the list of charges? So one of those, it was funny at the moment, and that's when she explained, sorry. She basically apologized. She said, I'm kind of in a mood right now because of, X, Y, and Z. And that's when she explained that the officer that she knows was shot and whatnot. So she didn't specify that, whether or not they were actually, like, ended or anything like that. But hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it was just a wound, and that they went on and were fine. And my wife and I, we tried to find any news articles or anything like that. We couldn't find anything, so it's one of those, hopefully no news is good news. There we go. So now we're gonna park that there, and now we need the bail trailer. Oh, are Where is this going? Oh, is this that bale place off to the east? Let's see. Uh, yeah, Sale of Straw. And okay, yep. That's the one. I'll grab this bale loader. There we go. So, official noob, quick question for you: are you a big gamer for Farming Simulator? And if so, do you have a favorite map that you like? Like any good games that you're in the middle of at the moment? Grab me a drink real quick. Oh, gotta pay attention where I'm going. I tell you what, I really do like this bale trailer. It basically works in the same manner as the base game one, but what's nice about it is the way it stacks. It's kind of in the opposite manner of the standard bale trailer, and it makes it to where it's a little bit easier and quicker on the restack. So that phase where it lifts up both the bales and then pushes it towards the back of the trailer, it basically goes slightly faster than the base game one. Doing that, there's a long window of wait when you're using that base game trailer, to where this one has just a slightly less of a wait. And mainly the biggest wait time is when the first bale of the pair gets stacked on. You see how it pushes it forward there? That's the longest kind of wait time between pickups. But because we have such large bales with the square baler, they're spaced out just far enough to where you're not really going to often run into the issue of waiting for pickup kind of thing. Like, you see that little moment of hesitation to pick it up uh, because of the reload, that kind of push forward. That's a real can be a real nuisance sometimes, especially because it can make the bale kind of kick out in weird ways that you're not anticipating it, especially if you're doing what I'm doing, which is just picking them up as quickly as possible rather than actually coming in at the proper angles and making sure that you're, you know, being as realistic as possible kind of thing. Yeah, see how it kind of kicked that bale out, and it seems like the bale grab is a bit more forgiving than that base game one. It allows you kind of have that wider pickup area, which is nice. I do like that. Now that's 14. Now we can. You know what? Let's go this way. Put that back up. And as you can see, our grass field here is coming along rather nicely. I'm rather happy about that. That should be ready to harvest come next month. And that'll work out really nice because we'll be able to use all of our equipment that we've already bought to be able to either make silage, make some hay. I mean, I'm thinking that after this contract, we're going to have quite a few hay bales left over. So that's kind of what I'm guessing. But we'll see. We'll see how all that works out. Oh, hey! Yeehaw! Thankfully, I have all that weight on the back of this trailer. Without that trailer, I would have just toppled over and would not have been good. Yeah, it's this place right here. Okay. Now, what's nice about this trailer, too, is just like the other trailer, when it unloads it, it stacks it vertically. So it makes it really cool to... Oh, did I not unload it? Oh, there it goes. And then the mechanism to unload it is really cool because it has those kind of skids on the back side of it. I'll show you in the next unload. Right there. Oh, yeah. Wow. Really? But yeah, you look here, you'll see these two red skids that come popping out. Or wait, no, it doesn't do that. Okay, so those skids that are raising up right there, as the trailer comes back and loads more bales on, it eventually gets out towards the very end, and then it lowers those skids down and rides along those grooves in the middle of the trailer to slide underneath the bales. It's just a really cool loading mechanism, unloading mechanism, really. Um, it's just really crazy just how technologically advanced we are. I've probably talked about this, a couple of times now, but you look at a piece of machinery and just the amount of engineering and the technical the amount of technical um what's the word I'm looking for, ingenuity. It is just amazing. You think about, you look at farming. Farming is a trade that's been around for, you know thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. Like it's there's been farming for, for a very very long time, and going from kind of everything done by hand to everything being done by uh you know horses, animal power, things like that. Like it's an amazing where we are now compared to where we were. Oh, and hold on just 1 second. I'm going to pause the stream real quick, but I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. For those who are regular viewers of the live stream, you will know that around this time every night, this is. Oh, hey, I left a bale over there. This is around the time where my wife goes to bed, and she will come out and, wish me good night and all that stuff. So, just wanted to wish her good night and do all that. So, hit the quick pause button and then get right back to it. So, anyways, I was mentioning how just technologically advanced farming has become over, over the centuries. And you look at, like I said, where we started with, just working with our hands and, doing everything manually and all that, to now we have like trailers like this, tractors like this. you know it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible where we are today as opposed to where we were way back when. It's just insane. And just the amount of engineering and the amount of technology that is available in just this one sector. You think about farming is probably one of the most uh, advanced laden industries ever. There's very few other industries where you've basically started with your hands and then worked your way up to like what we see here on the screen. There's very, very few that are like that. Typically when you've got an industry or some kind of, you know, some kind of work that is to be done, you know, there's already kind of a base level. Like there's obviously, things that will advance in just about any industry, but the fact that, like I said, we started with our hands and rudimentary tools and things like that, to now we have tractors and bale loaders and harvesters and all that stuff. It's just, it's amazing. It's really, really. Ooh. Oh, I'm one bale short. One bale is what we're gonna be short on it. Jody, hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. How you doing tonight? Oh, goodness. You missed a whole bunch of stuff that we've been talking about tonight. Been talking about oh, hey, I literally just called myself out and said we're one bale short and I'm still trying to pick up that bale. What am I doing? uh but no, I was saying how uh we were talking about how uh it's vital to I feel it's vital to have dash cams in any vehicles that you own. They can really come in handy. I was talking about my own personal experiences and my wife's as well. We were just talking about the technological advances in farming. I've mentioned that particular topic a few times. It's yeah. So a lot of stuff that we've gone over so far. Been a good day. Hey, I'm real glad to hear that. Do you do anything exciting today, or just get to just kind of hang out and tell you what? It was actually a rather nice day temperature wise. That really shocked me. Finally got our first kind of reprieve from the heat here in Florida, so I was really really ecstatic about that. Let's see. The game has come a long way. Yes. Well, it's not even the game itself. I'm talking like actual advancements in farming. Like, so I was specifically, I was commenting on this trailer and uh, the amount of mechanics and engineering that has gone in just into this trailer alone, because you have the pickup arm that grabs the bales off the fields. You have the sliding mechanism that will move the bales into position. You have the folding mechanism that will fold the bales upright. And then you have the actual full trailer folding mechanism that will then load all the bales onto the ground. And then you have this retraction mechanism, because you see those two little rails in the back of the trailer. Those actually fold up and out of the way as the trailer's loading, or as it's unloading, to clear out a path for the bales to sit on the ground. So the amount of just engineering in this one trailer is incredible. But then you throw into account things like the tractors and just all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just farming has gone such an amazingly long way. Oh, you watch college football? Nice. Uh, Florida State fan, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'm pretty sure that's the emblem that you have on your socials. Let's see, back up. I'm gonna stack this right here. Oof. So again, the reason I'm stacking these bales here, I mentioned this at the very beginning of the stream, but you can see all these bales here. All the silage bales, I had about 18 total at the beginning of the live stream. Well, not at the beginning of the live stream, before the live stream even started. I as I unloaded them from the bale storage here, the silage bales were actually spawning into the ground. I've lost 8 bales. They're underneath the floor. So I'm not going to use this particular bale storage. I'm only going, well, I'm probably going to replace it with something else. I don't know what one I'm going to replace it with as of yet, but I will be replacing it at some point. But no, like I was saying, I'm. Wait a minute. What? That's weird. So why is there 2 boxes? So that's the egg spawn point right there, but what is this box? This hazard box for? Is this like the periphery for the pasture? Is that what's going on here? Anyways, sorry, it just dawned on me that another egg box has spawned, and I don't know. I moved the other egg box back where I thought it spawned from originally because I ran it over, and no, it's not the spawn point. Weird. Anyways, but yeah, we were talking about dash cams and how I've been watching a lot of dash cam channels here lately just to kind of keep something on in the background, but it just blows my mind on how like either some people will act or anything like that, and sharing a couple personal experiences of mine where a dash cam, wasn't necessary in saving my butt, but especially when dealing with the insurance companies, it was more vital there than it was for the police and them assigning fault. So, yeah, it was it certainly made the insurance side of things a lot easier to deal with. So thankfully that wasn't too big of an issue. Let's see, from here, grab that last bale, and then we've got, I guess we could do that. Whoa, could you not run into me? I need a dash cam here in the game, apparently. You know what? Technically, I have one. You're streaming it right now. I have video evidence that I'm driving safely. Well, as safely as the video game will allow me. But I see that there's those steering wheels that you can have for either the consoles or I've seen them on like computers and whatnot, and that is really intriguing. Like to have the full-blown steering wheel kind of set up with the shifters and all that stuff, that would be really cool. I could really see like how precise you could be and being able to kind of do things that you really can't do that well with a controller. Just give the hay bale a bump. Let's see. So, Jody, playing the map, Griffin, Indiana. Now that's a good map. That's a really good map. Oh goodness, I can't remember what the map maker's name is off the top of my head, but yeah, I have a soft spot for maps where they're based off a real life location. They actually use like the PDA from the like from Google Maps or something, where they'll be able to just show that kind of overhead view and then lay out the map around that. I have a real soft spot for that because it just makes it feel that next level of immersion for that map. And that map in particular, it's like that. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. But that area was made for farming. You could just see that it's just really kind of the bread and butter, and it was a real good call for, whoever made it back in 2019 to whoever made it now for 22. Um, just it was a real good call to make it into Farming Simulator full set and stop because of that. And there's those certain farms and certain maps that are brought to Farming Simulator 22 that are like that, where they will actually have that kind of look and feel of reality kind of thing. And whether it's actually because it is based off of reality, or because it's just that well made that their imagination is such a good representation of reality, that it's, yeah, that's just one of those maps that I think is a really good job. And I think that they did, there's certain things about the 22 version that I don't care for as compared to the 2019 version, but I can respect it kind of growing with the times kind of thing. Let's see, collect on those two. And, 107? Is that? Oh, no, it's the... Oh, you know what? It's not a big deal. Okay. So that's the one I had a real hard time with the bales. Wait, what? How have I transported 1%? How did that happen? I know how that happened. That's going to my biogas plant there at the farm, and I had bales squirreled away in the biogas in the chamber to have the biogas actually grab them as it needed it. So what happened is it just absorbed it the moment I accepted the contract. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. Oh well, it is what it is. I apologize if you can hear that crunching in the background. That's I've got a drink here of water, and it has ice cubes. And the big bottle that I use, I have a big 64-ounce growler that I drink from, and unfortunately, the neck where the liquid comes out sometimes is too large. When the ice cubes melt down, it just comes, into my mouth, and I just chew the ice. It's a bad habit. I need to stop doing it. Anywho. So let's see. So, like I said, we were talking about dash cams. We talked about... so I had started talking about, and I was discussing how there's a lot of issues that are cropping up on this map. And it's a real shame because this map is very nice. I do like this map, the look of it, and it's got a lot of really cool things going for it. But at the same time, there's all these little issues that are kind of popping up, and it's all started with the grapes and destroying the fields or the grape vineyards when the ground state changed. So there was the cultivating and the plowing and the mulching, and all those individual things were destroying the vines and making it to where that made me have to restart this entire Let's Play, start it back from scratch because of that issue. I didn't want to not have the grapes as a source on this map, because that was the whole point of me doing this map, was for that kind of storyline about the grapes. Then there was the issue that I ran into where one of my sheep was out in the middle of a field in the middle of the map. And then there was the issue where the bales are now all of a sudden just spawning into the ground, kind of thing. So it's just one little issue after another, and they're all minor issues. Up until this point, it's not anything that's, worth crying about. But those issues eventually start to add up. And it's a real shame because this map, I do like this map a lot. There's a lot to say for it that are in the positive. But it's those things that happen when you have those kind of issues that crop up that really, on an individual, like case by case issue, they're not a big deal. But it's one of those kind of a death from 1,000 cuts where you have the one issue and then the next and then the next and then the next, and it just really starts to wear thin. And that's kind of the point where I'm starting to get to is, now it's okay, what's next? What's the next thing I'm going to run into that's going to be, breaking or is going to take away from the kind of gameplay experience. Now I'm hoping that by me just replacing the bale storage with a different bale storage, I'm hoping that that fixes the issue, but I'm not 100% sure. It's one of those that, is it because of the type of silage bale that I have, that is that what's causing the issue? So for those that don't follow the Let's Play in its entirety, the bale wrapper that I'm using is the tube wrapper, the one where you actually bring the bale to it, and that it will then wrap everything into that long kind of sausage link tubing, as opposed to like individually wrapping each bale. It's the extractor, I think is what it's called. Once I get here, I will fire up the worker and I can actually look it up real fast. Actually, here, let's get to the most southern point. And I kind of failed on that one ever so slightly. Okay, perfect. So now I think I should be able to set a worker in this direction, maybe? There we go. Perfect. So the baler I'm using is, or the bale wrapper, it's this one, the Anderson Hybrid Extractor. And what this one does is you bring your bales to this end, and that it'll just wrap the bales one inside of another, and it just makes a long tube of wrapped bales, as opposed to wrapping each individual bale by itself. It just wraps everything together, and everything ferments all at the same time in one solid tube. And then what you have to do is then unwrap the bales just like you would a bunker silo or a silage clamp. You throw the blanket over top of all the grass or the chaff that's there, and then it ferments, and then you just unwrap it, and then you have access to silage. Well, that's basically what you're doing here, is that you're making one long sausage tube, one large hot dog, and it then ferments all as one, and then you unwrap everything, and then you have, each individual bale as its own fermented silage. Well, the problem, what I'm getting at is I don't know if that's the issue, is the fact that it's not just a standard wrap bale and that it's gone through this process of silage making, or does it have something to do with just the bale storage itself? I'm just not sure. Let's see. Jody, pop my finger. It has have it. Sorry, Jody, I don't understand what you're typing there. But yeah, so long story short, I'm hoping it's just that particular storage, and that I'm going to replace it with something. I just don't know what. Lohan, hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining us here on the live stream. Hope you're having a good day so far. Well, actually around here, I don't know where you're at, but around here it's actually, hope you're having a good night so far. it's starting to get pretty late around here. Are you new to the channel, or are you new to the, just to Farming Simulator in general? But the good thing, at least on this particular map, so I was starting to talk about that, oh, that's right, all of my equipment's, oh no, wait, I do have the truck over here. So I was starting to talk about how the bale storage is wonky, it's just not working properly. Oh, you're in South Africa. Oh, wow, so, yeah, daytime where you're at, let me think, you're probably, what, maybe 12 hours ahead of us? My best guess. Oh, so it's not quite daylight time yet. So 5:40. Wow, so it's early where you're at. Okay, so it's not as far ahead as I thought it was. 5:41. So it's what, 11 o'clock, 11:40. Yeah, 11:40 my time. So was that 6 hours ahead? No. Yes, 6 hours. So like I said, are you just new to the channel, or are you new to Farming Simulator as a whole? Let's see. So I was mentioning how this is having issues. The great thing about this is, thankfully, I can just come here and delete it, and that'll likely be how the next Let's Play episode is, tackling this and figuring out what it is I can do in its place, and hopefully this is the only issue. Oh, hey, I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that. Oh, new to Farming Simulator. So I tell you what, this game, if you're brand new to it, and it's something that intrigues you, this game has a little bit of everything and is really customizable to everybody's playing style. So what's amazing about this game is, you can, if you're a kind of person who's just really like hardcore into the simulation kind of thing, you want to do everything the way that a real life farmer would do, then this game, you can play that way. And you can, buy the exact same machines that you would see out in the real world, out in the farms, out in, kind of doing their thing. So here you can see I've got a New Holland T7. It's obviously been put through its paces here. Can't play because, oh, that's a shame. So this one here is on console, so I don't know if you have access to either a PlayStation or an Xbox, but it is available there as well. So yeah, that's a bummer. Maybe one day you can get an upgrade kind of thing and be able to give it a look. But for now, hey, it's oh no access to that either. Well, hopefully you can have fun just hanging out with us and watching the streams here. So being new to Farming Simulator, new to the channel, it's one of those, just to kind of give you a heads up of what we do here. So on the live streams, these are kind of the intrams the intermediates between the Let's Play episodes. So the Let's Play episodes are the kind of storylines, the narrative-driven uh, portion of the game that I do. And then these are the kind of the areas where we just kind of come out, hang out, you know, just kind of chat about whatever we want to chat about at the time. As I was mentioning earlier, I have gone over things today about how it's good to have a dash cam. If you're driving a vehicle, dash cams can be a real lifesaver. Uh, then you also have what else were we talking about? We were talking about the issues that we've run across on this map. We're talking about Jody there. He was watching college football earlier, so it's let's see, it is blurry for me. The stream is blurry, or is it? Let's see. So it's one of those. I wonder if. Are you watching this on a phone, or are you watching this on a computer? Because if you're watching it on either device, you should be able to hit the settings and hopefully be able to tweak it to where it's a higher quality. So rather than it might be streaming depending on your internet speed. It might just be recognizing as like 360p or something like that. Oh, okay. Okay, so what it sounds like is you're on like auto detect. So it's just you're on the phone. Yeah, so it's one of those your phone's likely on auto detect, and it's just streaming as your signal strength is kind of coming in and out, or one of those things. So no, I'm glad it came back. But so no, it's just one of those. We come here, hang out, discussing anything and everything that we want to discuss at that point in time within reason. We try not to get into any kind of either spicy talk or there we go. We try and stay out of politics and things like that. We're here to have fun, kind of thing, and just kind of hang out and and what this is, the actual like contract work and all this stuff. Basically what has happened, I don't know if you're familiar with a YouTuber by the name of Mr. Sealy P, but he basically inspired me to do the live streams in the way that I'm doing them now. And the reason that he did that is he comes across a lot of issues where people will sit there and either accuse him of not doing the work that he claims that he does. So what he'll do is he'll take screenshots and whatnot of the finished contracts and whatnot, but people still accuse him of, oh well, you didn't do it this way or you didn't do it that way. So this is kind of what I'm doing to kind of show, hey, we're doing the work, kind of thing. We're putting in the effort to be able to kind of have the proof, kind of thing, but also give the opportunity to hang out and to chat and do all that stuff. So it's like I said, just a real cool way to be able to kind of have that video evidence while at the same time being able to offer an opportunity to whoops, helps if I center this up, to offer the opportunity just to do whatever, to, like I said, let's see, I play Roblox farming with friends. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now I know that Farming Simulator has a phone version as well. So if you have if you have like a smartphone, it sounds like you do. You do have the ability to play, I think it's called Farming Simulator 23. Now, this isn't me endorsing or anything because I've never played it personally, so I don't know if it's any good or what kind of limitations it does or does not have. So if there's anybody out there in the chat who has played Farming Simulator 23 and can either give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, let us know that, whether you like it or not. Because that might be an option for you. Lowen, is if this is something that kind of interests you, to check that out. I don't know if it's free to download or anything like that. Like I said, I have zero experience with it and whether or not it's any good or not. Um, so yeah, if anybody's out there who's tried it, give it a look, see, and see. Let's see, Jody. Remember you eat ice? Yes, yes, I do. I do. I need to stop because it's supposedly it's not very good for your teeth. Um, I've never had an issue with that up until this point, but uh, yeah, I don't want to necessarily teach that to my daughter or anything like that. And I'm missing it. Let's see. Uh, it is really good. Sorry, my sister. Uh, Jody's giving it a thumbs down. So um, I definitely trust Jody as to whether or not it's good or not. Um, but I mean, it's one of those. It might be your only option if this is something that you're interested in. So it's one of those. Check it out, do some research, and see if it's something that interests you. But right now, just kind of give you a high level overview of what we're doing. So this game here allows you to do contract work. So basically, a farmer will give you the opportunity to do the work on their fields for them by you. And right now I am using my equipment that I've purchased to do the work, and it gives you the ability to have full access to the contract being offered. And what I mean by that is it gives you the full dollar amount. Now you can borrow equipment from the farmer to be able to use. So if you don't have all the equipment or the right equipment or too small of equipment, you can borrow that and use it on their field kind of thing, and it's just their equipment that they're letting you use. And you have certain parameters within the contract. So in this particular case, I'm taking the grass from this field, I'm baling it to make the square bales, and then I'm going to wrap them to make silage bales. After I wrap them to make the silage bales, I then have to transport them to said destination. In this case, I have to take them to the biogas plant on my farm. There's two biogas plants on this particular map, and there's multiple maps that you can play on. There's I think there's well over 200 different maps on either PC. Well, on console there's well over 200 maps. On PC there's even more because they have access to uh, different kinds of map parameters. Like they can have bigger maps, more detailed maps, and things like that that console players like myself don't have access to. But yeah, so right now I'm in the baling stage where I'm just making these large bales, large square bales, to then eventually come over, collect them, and wrap them. Oh, and am I missing? Yeah, I am missing product. I drove right past that. So let's see, Jody. I don't like the mobile version. Yeah, it's one of those. I haven't tried it. Obviously because I don't need to. Um, but it's one of those that if it was my only option or whatnot, then I could see giving it a try. But it also depends. It it's funny. So as some of you might know, I've started the social medias not too long ago. uh, Jody, yourself, you're well aware of the Instagram and the Facebook and all that stuff. But it's one of those where, because I've started those social medias, I've started to actually go through them, and I've followed pretty much every manufacturer that's here in the game. All the real life manufacturers, I've started following them, and certain other like gamers that are in this space, like DJ Goham, Mr. Sealy P. I don't think I follow Driver 53 because I'm just not aware of their social medias, but it's just certain you know YouTubers and whatnot. I've followed them as well, just to kind of be able to keep up on their updates and whatnot if I miss them on YouTube. Well, on Instagram, I've actually been going through some of the feeds of some of the manufacturers, because they actually have some pretty cool like videos and stuff. Like certain manufacturer like Hazamat. They've got some pretty cool videos, demonstrating some of their equipment. Like they do a lot of logging and stuff like that. And it's one of those where, as I'm kind of going through and checking out the feeds, I'm seeing a lot of advertisements, obviously. And as you're seeing the advertisement, there are a lot of video game advertisements, like for phones. And it's wild to me because I've actually downloaded a couple of these, apps based on the way that they looked in the commercial, that you see in the advertisement. And it blows my mind on just how not like the advertisement these games are. Like I came across a game that was basically like a logging game where it's, to me, kind of seemed like one of those idle logging games. And what I mean by that is you basically turn on the game and that it just sits there and kind of performs actions, and that you can upgrade said actions to be able uh, to get more money or more product or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll check that out and see how it looks. And I load it up, and all of a sudden, this huge storyline starts popping up, and it's like, it's nothing like the the gameplay suggests, kind of thing, or the advertisement suggests. And the same thing was for this game that keeps popping up on the feed for it basically like a winter harvesting game. So you're basically in this world that looks like it's nothing but snow and ice, and you have to, according to the advertisement, you go around and you collect wood to upgrade a furnace, and the more you upgrade the furnace, the more of a radius the furnace affects, the more area you can kind of build up and use the wood to kind of build homes. You can save people from the cold, and keep them from or get them to kind of work for you and be kind of the idle aspect of the game, kind of thing. So long story short, it again, something that kind of looked cool. But then I downloaded it, and again, it gets into this huge storyline, and it gets into like this mechanics that has nothing to do with the advertisement. You're just kind of, it just seemed like false advertising to me. And in a world where like false advertisement is a thing, especially here in the United States, and I know in other countries too. Like if you advertise something to be one way and it does something that's completely against what it is claimed to be, then you could potentially be sued for the product, kind of thing. Especially, and now this is kind of a gray area because you're not paying for anything. You're getting a free game, kind of thing, and whatnot. So it's nothing that you have to prove damages, kind of thing. Especially here in the States, you have to prove damages, and then once you prove damages, well, a video game not being exactly what it is that you thought it was going to be based on the advertisement, there's no damage. You're not out any money unless you were to like spend money on the kind of add-ons and whatnot. But those add-ons, you'd probably have to be a ways in for you to actually take advantage of those. Anyways, so yeah, it just kind of the fun stuff I've been seeing here lately. Here, let me catch back up with the chat and see what everyone's saying up to this point. Let's see. Don't like the mobile version. Okay. Jody, that's good, I think. Jody, Mr. Seeley P, he's got a good channel. Yes, I 100% agree. Actually, like I said, Mr. Seeley P not only has inspired me to do the live streams and as kind of a proof of record, but just inspired me in general. And what was actually kind of cool, I actually had reached out to Mr. Seeley P to let him know that. To let him know, hey, you inspired me to create a channel and to, do what it is that I'm doing. And he actually reached back out. And I honestly, I kind of expected him not to. I expected him just to be like, oh, well, here's one more person to message me, or this is, kind of thing. And amazingly enough, he messaged me back and he was very, very, very nice, about it, kind of thing. For just some, just some schmo like myself to just reach out to him out of the blue, and for him to actually take the time to message me back and say, hey, I appreciate you letting me know that, and whatnot. That was really cool, and like I said, it just really kind of fired me up more to really kind of go at this, to do the channel and whatnot. So it's one of those kind of things where, based on everything I've experienced up until this point, um, it seems like a really amazing space kind of thing. Like you get to meet a lot of really cool people. Um, I've gotten to speak to a lot of map makers. As a matter of fact, in the last live stream, Silver Eagle was here. And for those who are not familiar with Silver Eagle was the map maker of Split Mountain Ranch, I think is what it was called, uh, and is a part of the Shanty Boys modding group. So it's one of those, like, without this channel, I would have never have been able to do that without, like, just commenting under their things and under their social medias or under their channels, and kind of at their mercy kind of thing. Now I actually have a lot of these people are actually reaching out to me. I had a map maker just the other day reach out to me and thank me for doing a map tour. Um, and it was cool. It was just being able to kind of do that and interact with the people who are responsible in creating the content that is within this game is like next level kind of stuff that I guess wasn't anticipating when I first started this channel. And yeah, it's just kind of makes you realize that the people who are involved with this game, and not just the actual developers of this game, but the people who do the mods, do the maps, and all that stuff, that they're people too, and that they are you know going to work at trying to make their own spaces, and to make spaces just in general that are positive for the community. And that's what it really seems like, is that we've got a game, and we've got a community of people who are really invested in making this entire thing as good as it can be. And it's awesome. So it's a great feeling and a great place to be. Let's see, I can't be on social medias. Oh no. uh, let's see, and a bunch of fake games. Yes, there's tons of those games out there that are just not what you anticipate them to be. It was your birthday yesterday. Hey, well, happy birthday! Everybody out there, wish Lowen a happy birthday. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and put this into operating position. So this is a nice little stacker. It's a little finicky because you got to be really kind of precise with how you line everything up. Because if you don't get it, oh, see, just like that, don't get it just right, you're not gonna get it into the chute. There we go. And just like I was saying in, I think it was one of the episodes, might have been 11, might have been 10. Um, let's make grass hedge. Good to have all these pillars of grass bales. Oh, nope. Come on. Eject. Bob and weave, stick and move. There we go. So yeah, we just gotta get all these stacked up, and I'm gonna put them all over here in the corner here, so that way when it comes time to wrap them, whoops, there we go. We can just grab a stack at a time and kind of go from there. Oh no! Alright. Bail out, bail out. Bail out. Oh no, dad humor. I don't know why. I have no idea why. But has anybody out there seen the movie Airplane? It's an old movie from way back when. It's one of those quintessential kind of comedy movies where it's just kind of the slapsticky kind of weird comedy. It's kind of like a Spaceballs or like a uh, oh goodness, why am I blanking on other movies like it? Anyways, like a Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's just that kind of slapsticky kind of humor. But when I said bail out, I don't know why, but I thought of that movie, and the scene specifically was the scene um, where the pilots are in the cockpit of the airplane, and all of a sudden they're like, uh, "Roger, Roger, what's your vector, Victor?" I don't know why that just came like raging into my head, but it did. I don't know why. Every once in a while, and those who are familiar with these streams, they know that that happens to me every once in a while. I'll say something, all of a sudden, just a memory, just all of a sudden, just boom, triggers, and it's there. And if you haven't seen that movie, go check it out because it's a pretty good movie. Here, let me catch up with the chat here. Lowen, thank you. Hey, no problem, man. Like I said, happy birthday for yesterday. You know, wish you would have been able to stream yesterday and would have actually caught you on your birthday. But let's see, when you're making videos, let's see. Hey, Rusty Money, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day so far. Good evening. Let's see. Great life. We were actually, you know what? It's funny. Rusty Money, I was actually just mentioning you earlier in the live stream here. Um, we were telling stories about dash cams and got talking about the interactions with the cops at the time, and at the same time, it just it occurred to me that you were former law enforcement, and we had just mentioned that. So, yeah, it was just one of those kind of you happy coincidence, kind of thing. But let's see, great live stream right here in this place, and BDD Gaming's been lurking in the voice chat and farming on Split Mountain. Well, thank you, Rusty Money. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And you know what's funny is Split Mountain Ranch. I don't think you were here on the last live stream, but we had literally just spoke to Silver Eagle in the last live stream, and he was on there. We kind of did an impromptu interview with him, and he was gracious enough to kind of humor us and letting us. Oh, hey, helps if I put this back into operating position. There we go. Oh, helps when you do things the right way and not just Dave's way. Oh no, there we go. But yeah, we were talking to Silver Eagle and doing kind of this impromptu interview, and very, very nice, allowing us to kind of interrogate him and ask him a whole bunch of questions on kind of the whole programming side of maps and whatnot. He doesn't do any mod making per se, like modded like tractors and things like that, but he does the maps. And so we were asking him several questions about all that stuff, and apparently he took over a year to make Split Mountain Ranch. And when he had mentioned that just completely blew my mind, that it took a year to make one map. And I mean, it makes sense now that he kind of explained it, because he, like myself, is a part-time gamer kind of thing. He's got a family, he's got a job, and whatnot. So it's one of those, like, you can only do it when you have the time to do it kind of thing. So it was just one of those kind of things, like, after he kind of said that, kind of put it into perspective of, like, wow, that's dedication right there, to have a project that takes over a year to do, and then all of a sudden, oh, hey, there we go. And then to still have the ability to go ahead and push it out there, and to support it with the updates that he's put out there and all that stuff, like that takes some commitment, especially for something that you're not being paid for, as far as I'm aware. I don't think modders and map makers get paid for this. They're just doing it, kind of thing, and it's through their own generosity that we get to partake in this kind of venture that they do. So, like I said, I gave a huge shout out to Silver Eagle and any map maker at that point, because it's one of those that to dedicate that amount of time to something that you're not being compensated for, and that you're just doing it for the love of it. That's just an amazing thing. And then we got to talking about kind of the more unfortunately, for lack of a better word, quote unquote nerdy side of things, the kind of XML programming side of things. And me, I'm a SQL programmer, so I know a fair bit about coding and whatnot. So I was able to kind of, understand some of the kind of finer aspects that they were going into, kind of thing. And it was cool because I was kind of explaining some of the issues that I was experiencing on this map, and they had explained, oh well, that must be, that more than likely sounds like a XML issue that just needs to be addressed and all that stuff. So it was just kind of a cool experience. So it was kind of a happy coincidence that you're playing on Split Mountain, and we literally just got to speak with the map maker. Let's see, Rusty Money, hello Lowen, and hello Jody. Lowen says this game looks hard. So for the most part, this game is as hard as you want to make it, kind of thing. So you have the ability to, actually, you know what, let me rephrase that. It's hard in one regard, and the hardest part about it is understanding the proper steps. So every single thing that you do in this game has a procedure to it. So it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, kind of thing. And understanding what needs to be done at which stage, that's kind of the hardest part. Once you kind of understand that there's a procedure to things, and that it takes a very specific method of doing the things is not the difficult part. It's just knowing what to do. That's the difficult part. But once you kind of gain that understanding of what to do, and with so many creators out there, like myself, like Rusty Money, you watch some of their content and some of my content, you pick it up pretty quick as to what it is that needs to be done in order to get the jobs done. So it's one of those that at the end of the day, you can make this game very, very easy. There's auto-loading bale trailers to where you just drive right past it, and it loads bales onto the back of the trailer, and then you just take it to a sell point, kind of thing. There's harvesters out there with massive capacities to them, millions upon millions of liters of capacity, so you just have to, turn a worker loose and let them do their thing, kind of thing. So you can make it very, very easy. If you're really interested in this game and just kind of following along with some more of its content, take a look at a creator called DJ Goham. They're probably one of the bigger creators in this space. And DJ, you look at DJ Goham and you compare them to a creator like myself, or like a Mr. Sealy P, or I really can't think of any others off the top of my head. But our gaming styles are vastly different from like a I'm sorry, from a DJ Goham, to where he really kind of ramps up on the unrealistic factor of this game. He'll actually go in, because he's on a PC. Uh, he'll go in and actually edit the XML files and make things, have super huge capacities and ridiculous working speeds, to where people on console, we can't do that. We can't actually alter the code to make things fast. We have to kind of have those things kind of pre-programmed out for us. So there are modders out there who will make those items for us, kind of thing, which is awesome. It allows us to kind of go as either real or unreal as we want to. So let's see. Rusty Money. Cool. Yep. 22 years prior to last December. Yes. So as we were discussing the career change, and like I said, that's an intense thing to go through. That's a radical shift, going from law enforcement officer to, if I remember right, you said you were was it parts at a case? Either store or factory. Sorry, my memory is terrible. So if I remember right, it was or was it a parts distributor? Anyways, I apologize for that one. But let's see. And lower, now I understand the game. So yeah, it's one of those, like, you can make this game as easy or as difficult as you want to make it. And that's one of the greatest things about this game, is that there's so many things that can be kind of tweaked and modified that'll just kind of adapt to anybody's playing style. You can have an ultra realistic gameplay to where, like I'm doing here, to where I'm actually using a bale grab. So I am actually manually having to pick up the bales, load them into the wrapper here to make the silage and all that stuff. Now I could have a particular type of grab where it's far more forgiving and uses straps as opposed to actual, like, a physical grabbing mechanism. And what will happen is you can pick up, loads at a time, basically as much as your vehicle can, keep in balance, kind of thing, rather than just whoa, easy. There we go. I'm getting a little bit too aggressive there with the turning. That's it. The parts department of the local case. So okay, so I was right. And drive an oil truck delivery too. Oh wow. So yeah, that's one heck of a career change. Going, like I said, going law enforcement officer for 22 years to that. But you know what? As long as you're happy, that's what matters. And like I mentioned the last time we were discussing it, being a cop, based on everything that I've seen, from I like I mentioned, I watch like body camera channels and stuff like that, like Donut Operator. That's a good one that I like. There's also Code Blue Cam. Anyways, I could be shouting out YouTube channels all night, but it's one of those where being a cop, and I again mean no disrespect for this, being in law enforcement, it's like you're an adult babysitter, kind of thing. It's, you got people out there who just want to kind of go at their own pace in life and do things their own way. And if it wasn't for the law enforcement officers out there to tell them, no, you exist in a society and you need to coexist with people within that society, it's one of those that I don't have the temperament for that kind of job. Especially when you start getting into the kind of really kind of awful things that law enforcement get to see on a daily basis. Um, the real like depths of society. Like I, I don't think that he would mind me telling this story, but I'll keep them anonymous just in case. Just in case. But I have a friend who was a military officer who was oh goodness, I can't think of the actual, but they were basically the law enforcement for the military, and they were telling me about a story where they received a call going to a domestic dispute where the boyfriend was beating up on the girlfriend, kind of thing. And when they had shown up, he basically lost his cool and, you know, did what he wasn't supposed to do and took it out on the boyfriend. And that's kind of stuff that I would do, kind of thing. I don't have that temperament. I would see somebody like that and I would want to take it out on them. I'd see somebody who would be hurting somebody who's, innocent, who's, half their size or whatever, you know, and I'd want to take it out on them. And I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong. But that's I recognize that I don't have the personality required to be able to be a good law enforcement officer. So it's one of those kind of, that's why I have such high regards and high respect for anybody who's either worn the badge, who's in law enforcement, who's in the military, is that they are doing a job that I know I could never do. Unload the bales. And there we go. We have made the sausage. Unfold that. That's the one thing about this particular device that I don't think... Like, I understand why the motor is there, but I don't think it should be drivable like I'm doing here. And again, if I wanted to, I could make it a little bit more realistic and not be driving it, kind of thing. But it's, I don't know. It's just one of those that seems kind of weird. And now that we got silage, cut all these bales open so we have access to them. Perfect. So now what we can do is have a worker take this back to the farm. Because after this, we are all done. Let's see. Lowen, this is a cool... this game is cool. I want a PS4 or something to play this. So yeah, this game's available on PS4, PS5, Xbox, Xbox One, Xbox X and X, PC, Mac. It's basically on all the major gaming platforms. So yeah, it's one of those. If you ever get the opportunity to get one of those consoles or a PC that can run it, give it a see, because it's definitely a really cool game. Like I said, there's for consoles specifically, there's hundreds of different maps. It's got an entire community of people who go out and make mods that are available for this map. So just to kind of give you an example of what I'm talking about. So within the menu here, we have basic equipment that comes standard with the game. So you've got like the Massey Ferguson, the Fent here, this other Massey, this other Massey. All these are basic in-game stuff that comes with the base game. But if I scroll over to the right, you can see down here at the bottom underneath the series name, so it says the Kubota M7 and the price. Underneath the price, it then says Kubota Pack. That's a part of a DLC pack. But down here it says New Holland T7 Series Tier 4A mod. This is something that you can actually go out onto the website and download and have it specifically for your purposes of use. So I downloaded this one specifically because it was something with a good amount of horsepower. You can see down at the bottom, it will put out 210 to 310 horsepower and will power various implements based on that power range. But the base game, New Holland, which is here, T7 HD series, $227,500 base price. In the power range that I wanted, which is 310, $247,000. That's a huge price difference compared to the base price of this, $152,000, and the range that I bought it in, $167,000. It's almost $100,000 cheaper because of this mod, and it gives you more options, such as different tire brands. It gives you trumpets, horns. It also gives you the lights here, gives you both. You can build the extensions, which are just the wheel wells, the arches. You can have a 3-point link on the front or a front weight on it. Different color designs, just all sorts of different stuff that a mod will have that the base game doesn't. I also had this McCormick here as another option as well. So it's one of those, you can download mods, you can download maps, you can download tools, and just all of these different types of tools that are available for you to be able to use. You've got different harvesters, you've got different harvesting technologies available based on what kind of product that you're producing. So you can, if you want to do potatoes, you can have this massive potato harvester here. If you want to do sugar beets, then you can have one of these big old harvesters. That's just on the self-propelled vehicles, a cotton harvester, things like that. But then you have all the tools and whatnot that you can utilize as well. The maps that are available are places that can be based on real life. They can be based on, just places of our imagination or the map maker's imagination. So it's one of those where you have a really good range of what it is that you can and can't do, based on what's available in Mod Hub, as well as what's the style of gameplay that you want. Like I said, when I record my Let's Plays, I do a semi-realistic style, and some aspects I try to go as easy as possible without going like ultra crazy unrealistic, super large harvester sizes, power bandwidths and things like that. So in the background I'll do things as quickly as possible just to get them done, kind of thing. But it's one of those that for the storyline and whatnot, I try to be semi-realistic. But yeah, no, it's just one of those. Let's see. Lowen, the police don't work here. Yeah, with it being South Africa, I'm not exactly sure how, like, I've never been to South Africa, so I just don't know like the intricacies of the law enforcement there. Let's see. Oh, the bail trailer, that's what I need. So it's just one of those, I'll certainly have to take your word for it. Let's see, so... Oh, you know what? Before I forget, because we are starting to approach the end of the live stream, I'm going to deal with the bails here and the contract and whatnot, but I don't want to forget this. So I want to give the shout out to... I want to give the shout out to all the channel members here on the channel. Thank you all so much for being Tier 2 members. I greatly appreciate it. Starting off with the original BDD farmhand, that is Crimea River. Crimea River, thank you so much for being a dedicated channel member and just being so dedicated to just the channel itself. I greatly appreciate it. Mark K, thank you for being a Tier 2 member. Greatly appreciate you as well. And lastly, and certainly not least, Deco, thank you so much for being the most recent channel member. All of you. Wait, what? What happened here? Huh. Well, then, if that's the case, I'm just going to go and sell this bale real quick. But no, like I was saying, thank you all so much for being, dedicated channel members. If you were interested in being a channel member, go ahead and check out the join button on the YouTube page itself. We've got 2 specific types of tier levels, which will give you different kind of perks, such as custom emojis, custom badges. There's early access to edited content. That's the Let's Plays and shorts. Now, here lately, and I need to get better about doing this, but here lately I've had a really hard time with doing... Whoa. I wasn't anticipating that to happen. I had a hard time here lately doing shorts, and I don't know why, because typically my shorts contain like bloopers and things like that, but it's just one of those where... there we go. Perfect. One of those that I haven't been doing a lot of mistakes here lately, or at least haven't been recording a lot of mistakes. So it's one of those that's the main driver of the shorts, and without the mistakes, kind of is a shallow well when it comes to the shorts. But it's one of those that I think what I'm going to start doing is making sure that I record everything that I do for a map, because I find that oftentimes there are times where I'll hop on to the map just to adjust something, put something in a specific place, take care of things, wash equipment off so that it has the clean appearance to it, all that stuff. And that's why I'm finding I'm making the mistakes, or I'm screwing up, and having perfect content for the shorts. But like I said, it's just one of those that for some reason I haven't been recording those. Let's see. Lowen, they just sit there and do nothing. Well, that's a shame. It's certainly one of those that they should be doing something. But like I said, it's one of those that I definitely have to take your word for it, because I have literally zero experience with South African cops. But I mean, yeah, we are almost over. We're running out of contracts for this month, and once the contracts kind of run dry for the month, it's one of those that leaves it open for the next Let's Play series, or the next Let's Play episode. But like I said, thank you for being a new subscriber to the channel, and it's one of those that I greatly appreciate. Everybody, whether you're a member, whether you're just a subscriber, whatever, I greatly appreciate every single person who's out there. And that's kind of leads me to what I was saying about the memberships. That's why I have the membership set up the way that they're set up. So there's nothing in the channel membership that's exclusionary. And what I mean by that is I don't do channel member exclusive content or anything like that. It's basically set up in a way to where, if you want to help support the channel, both in the growth of the channel and the ability to be able to bring better content, longer content, whatever that can be done in the future, that's what the membership is for, is to show your direct line of support to the channel, to myself, and be able to offer up an ability to basically show that you want to support the channel, kind of thing, and not just be a kind of member in a club kind of thing. So that's kind of the mindset that I developed it. Why did I go this way? Sorry, I just realized I turned the wrong direction. And unfortunately, far too late in that realization. Anyways, um, oh no, I can get there this way too. This is fine. Hey, Deco. Hey, thanks for joining us. How you doing tonight? Guess I'm a bit late. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're getting ready to kind of wrap things up here pretty soon. But I appreciate you stepping out. And actually, I literally, your ears must have been burning because I literally just gave you a shout out not too long ago as being the most recent channel member. So let me do it while you're here. Deco, thank you so much for being the most recent channel member. I greatly appreciate you being there. But missing the lives due to the time zone. Out of curiosity, what time zone are you in? Oh wow! So you know what? That's we got we got a whole bunch of people from overseas here recently, and I greatly appreciate every single person out there who joins, joins the live streams and all that. So, yeah, wow, Sweden. That's oh, there we go. Um, I don't know why, but I guess I just didn't realize it when you first signed up to the channel. So it was one of those that makes a lot of sense that it'd be hard to make the live streams. And yeah, 6:35 in the morning. Yeah. Uh, so what is going on here? Lowen is in South Africa, and it was 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning when they first joined us here. Why is my door open? There we go. Button. Who's got the button? Uh, yeah, and now it's 6:30 over here. Y'all get up really early. Just kind of dawned on me. It's like 5:30 in the morning, Lowen, and then 6:30 over for you, Deco. Um, so yeah, y'all get up really early, but it's like 12:30 my time here, so it's pretty late. But yeah, that's the only other problem, in the reason that I stream at the times that I do, is because of me being a father and me working full time, on anything that's not YouTube. Um, oh shoot! I just realized that I'm doing more talking than paying attention where I'm going. Um, but because I work full time and I have a daughter, I basically have to start streaming and doing content after she goes to bed at night, and it can't be up too terribly late because of having to work the next day. It being Saturday though, well, now Sunday my time, um, it's one of those that I'm able to stay up a little bit later, and thankfully my wife is gracious enough to be able to let me sleep in on nights where if I have a late night of gaming or something like that, she's gracious enough to be able to let me kind of sleep it off, kind of thing. And she's just ultra supportive, just full sentence stop. So let me give a big shout out to my wife. Baby, I love you. uh, I guarantee she, well, you know what, I won't say that. I was gonna say she probably won't ever come across a stream to hear that, but you know what, I'm gonna say it anyways. But let's see. Yeah, up early because of the dog started barking at the. Oh no, that's a bummer. What kind of dog do you got? By out of curiosity, I have three dogs myself. I've got. Let's see. Let's start with the little guy. So Jack, he is a think technically he's a Jack Russell uh, mix. I think he's Jack Russell mixed with a little miniature pincher. We've got a uh, the big girl. She is a hound mix. Not quite sure exactly what she's mixed with. But then we've got the big boy. He is a Cole. He is a black lab mix, and we think that he's mixed with a Newfoundland. Uh, or I'm sorry, not a Newfoundland, a Chow Chow. And the reason that we think that is because of the tail that he has. He's got the nice curled tail that kind of goes back upon itself, and he's got the black speckled tongue. That's kind of indicative of the Chow Chow breed. Um, but it's one of those. Those are all just kind of guesses. Let's see. Lowen. It's not early for me. I wake up at, holy smokes, 3 a.m. Lowen, why so early? 3 a.m. That means you've been up for like 3.5 hours. Holy smokes! You got like a job that you know gets you up that early, or and Deco. Whoops. You know, I'm just gonna stop because I'm just gonna start running over and into things until I'm done reading these. We got a Maltese and a Bichon. I haven't heard of that second one. I know the Maltese, but I haven't heard of the second one. I'm gonna look that up later. But yeah, this is, you know what? This is something that I never kind of anticipated when I first started doing YouTube, is having the ability to talk with people literally all over the world. And it's it's amazing the times that we live in. Having the ability to literally talk to somebody in real time. So I'm old enough to remember, this is going to make me sound really old. I'm old enough to remember a time when I was in school, and this is probably back in maybe fourth grade, fifth grade. We did pen pals, and we would literally write people all over the world in these pen pals for school. And I had a pen pal, I believe they were in England, and I remember it was so cool thinking, oh man, I got to talk to somebody over in England. And you know, it took weeks for the letter to get to them, and it took, you know, weeks for the letter to then come back to me. So it was, you know, months in between, you know, us having any kind of communication with each other. And it was one of those, like, going from that, from when I was a kid to now being able to talk with somebody in a whole nother country on the other side of the world, to, you know, to that kind of instantaneous kind of thing, is just, it's an amazing thing. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about the kind of technological advances in farming. Well, there's just been technological advances, just full sentence stop, in general. And just to kind of think of those things is just really kind of cool. Um, where, like I said, where we can just kind of just have a chat and see how everybody's doing anywhere in the world. Let's see. Deco. We also have a 3 kids, hamster, and a, oh. So 2 dogs, 3 kids, a hamster, and a bunny. Holy smokes. That's a busy household right there. You know what? I'm wearing a ball cap, and I'm taking it off in dedication to you, because that is a busy household right there. I've got the 3 dogs and 1 kid, and yeah, it's busy enough. I could only imagine adding 2 more kids on top of that, having 3 dogs, and whew, that's bless you indeed. Let's see. Uh, I don't know. No, I'm a oh. So you're just getting up just to get up. That's, hey. That's more power to you then. You know what? We're gonna go the way that I normally go, and not the kind of roundabout way. So yeah, holy smokes! Like, so when I was a kid, uh, the only time I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning is for Christmas. That whole anticipation for Santa to come, kind of thing. But now that well, I'm almost 40. It's one of those where um, I tend to be more of a night owl nowadays, and staying up late. And a lot of it's due to YouTube and whatnot. Um, I've been really trying hard to get out the content and doing what it takes to have a successful channel. And it's one of those that sometimes I'm up until 2, 3, 4 o'clock. I mean, just the other day, uh, 5 maps released, whether they were updates or map. I'm sorry, whether they're updates or just brand new to the mod hub. 3 of them were brand new, and 2 of them, and actually, whoops, I actually found out later that there was 3 updates, and I had missed one. I don't know how I missed it, but I was going through and doing the tours and all that stuff. I was up until 4 in the morning, and I had to wake up at 8 in the morning for work. So that was a night where I got 4 hours of sleep. The night before, my daughter was sick, and no, I'm sorry. There was the hmm, trying to think. I think it was the night before. She was sick, and before that, she was running like 103 temperature, and she's a year and a half. It's the first time she's ever been sick like this, where she's run a fever. Like, there's been times where she's just kind of been kind of blah, but never had a fever like this. So it was one of those. It was really kind of off-putting to my wife and I. It was really kind of, I don't want to say scary, but it certainly dredged up a lot of emotions that we never had to deal with as relatively new parents. Again, a year and a half kind of thing. So dealing with everything that she was going through at the time and trying to comfort her and all that stuff, it was just one of those where um, it was just kind of a wild experience kind of thing. Well, then at the same time, she wasn't sleeping too well because of the fever and all that stuff. So the night before, she was up until about, well, on and off, up until about 1 o'clock in the morning. And finally, that's when the fever kind of broke, and when she was finally starting to get some actual rest and able to kind of relax, kind of thing. So thankfully, everything kind of worked out in that, and she's feeling so much better now. And yeah, it's just one of those, like I said, just one of those where I'm just glad she's feeling better, and glad that we're able to kind of get back to like an even keel kind of thing. So let's drop that off. Let's kind of get this all pivoted, and then we will grab the telehandler and we'll go ahead and load that into, wait a minute. Oh, that's just a bale that didn't get in there. Okay. It's just stuck. Okay. That, I saw something hanging in there. And it's like, what is that? Let's see. The kids are older now, 13 and twin. Oh, wow. Twins. So, my daughter, she is incredibly even-tempered and just, she is probably one of the most relaxed and chilled and laid back kids I've ever seen. And that's not me bragging. That's just making the observation kind of thing. Um, but I could only imagine like having two of her and having like it's one thing like my wife and I were able to kind of um, it's a two against one kind of thing is probably the best way I can put it. But then you talk about having like twins, and it's one of those kind of situations that like especially when you got one who's older already, and that means that they would have been two when your twins were born. So wow, that's you know what? Let me retake off my cap to you and put it on just to take it back off again, because holy smokes, I could only imagine the late nights that you all had. Let's see. Uh, Lohan. Oh, you're in grade 7. Okay, okay. Okay, so that makes more sense. So it's the weekend for you, so you're able to be up this late. I gotcha. I gotcha. That makes all the more sense to me now. Let's see. Let's see how many of these I can grab at once. It looks like about 4 if I grab it right. I did. Ooh, I kind of tanked on that one. Did my... I feel like my bales adjusted in size. Like I had them on the largest bales. Whoa, 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 whoa. Weight's too high, weight's too high. I was just getting out and saying how I haven't made a whole lot of mistakes here lately and haven't had any content for shorts. I'm getting ready to have content if I keep stuff like that up. 62%, okay. So here we'll get 2 more bales. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty much lined up. There we go. Pull forward. Perfect. There we go. Let's see. Whoa, 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 whoa. Was a busy time when they were all into... Oh, yeah, I could only imagine. I could only imagine. That's just... Whew. There we go. Oop. Come on. There we go. Let go. Okay, 86. So, probably another 2 bales? Maybe 3? Yeah, Lo, it took me a second when you said that when you're younger, it's like, wait a minute. If you're younger and you have school, then why are you up so late? And then it occurred to me, wait, it'd be the weekend still for you, and oh, you gotta love the time differences and the thinking across time and space. Alright, let's see. Ha ha ha! Nice! So check that out. So at this point... You know what? Let's take all these silage bales and we can... Well, you know what? No, because I'm gonna have them in storage later, just not right now. So yeah, we'll just move them over to the other one. We won't put them in because, like I was saying earlier, and Deco and Lowen, you weren't here for this part, but I'm having some issues here on this map. I mentioned this a couple of times already, but the bale storage here for these particular bales, for the silage bales specifically, I had 18 bales to start out with before this live stream. Now I only have from here over. It's about 10 of them. And what was happening is that when I took these bales out, they actually spawned in the floor, like under the floor here. So I unloaded everything out because I was seeing that there was some kind of issue with the way that they were stacking. The silage bales weren't stacking properly in here, and what was happening is like they were just hiding underneath all the hay bales. So I decided to take them out just to see if I could get them to fix themselves by taking them out. And when I spawned them all, they all just kind of, well, one or two popped out in the ground, and then the rest of them were stacking on top of that, and I ended up losing like 8 bales. And they're all just kind of underneath the map now. And I don't know if they're there forever or if they're gonna disappear because they're like not technically in the playing surface kind of thing, but I don't know. One of those kind of odd situations. But then there's like other issues that's been going on with the map so far, so it's just one of those kind of weird stuff that's been happening on this map. Thankfully, nothing that's been, devastating or crippling up into this point, other than having to restart because of the grapes having the issue before. So it's one of those just a small nuisance. I'm gonna have to dedicate some time in one of the next episodes, probably the next episode, in getting a new bale storage, and I can delete that one and put a new one in. So it's one of those let's see. I saw your older videos about the top maps. Is that still accurate, or what's your favorite map today? So the original plan when I made those, so my top 10 map tour, or my top 10 map and the top map by continent, my intention was to remake that every quarter and go ahead and kind of give an update, like a running update as to what my top maps are at that point in time. And after I had finished making the maps by continent series, I kind of let go. Come on. There we go. I kind of reevaluated that, and I think that's going to turn into either a once every half a year to once every year kind of thing. And the reason it is because not only has there been so many new maps since I made those, but it's one of those that I think my tastes have changed a lot, especially since doing YouTube. And there's a lot of different criteria that I look for now that I didn't look for when I made that tour. So to answer your question, yeah, I do have kind of a new favorites kind of thing, and it's one of those that it's kind of a mixture. Like I couldn't necessarily pull out my top favorite right here and now kind of thing, but it's one of those that I think that it's kind of a mixture of if I had to give you like my top 5 right now, I think one of my original tops would be Calmsden Farm. That one is one of my favorites. I really like that one just because of how it is. Oh hey, I'm all done. Another one that I really like, which is more of a recent map, is Galgenberg. I really like that map, and I'm really contemplating on actually doing a Let's Play series on Galgenberg because of just how nice that map is. There's so many cool features on that map, and just the details on it. Pretty much any Zero Orito map I am absolutely crazy about Zero Edo, and the reason being is their maps are so incredibly detailed. Frontier, the Green Valley, uh, Black River. What else? Um, BR, is it BR 153? Like pretty much like I said, any map by Zero Edo. You know what? We can just make a whole top 10 list of just Zero Edo maps and just have it just all like that's it kind of thing. And like I said, it's because of just all the incredible amount of detail that are thrown into those maps. Now, unfortunately, their maps are uh-oh, what just happened? Oh, did I just lose the stream? Whoops. Let me know if y'all can still hear me because I'm not like things just went black and I don't know if I lost the stream or whatnot. Um, it says I'm still live. I don't know what just happened. Like I said, give yourself a shout out. Let me know that you're all still out there because I don't know what just happened. I just sat up and all of a sudden things went black. It says I'm still streaming. Where is... Okay, you can hear. Okay, whew. I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened, but literally just everything on my screen went black and... okay. So like I said, basically anything Zero Edo is because of the details, just the little things that you wouldn't anticipate as being... All right, chickens. I don't want you chirping my ear. Just those little things, like the perfect example, the gas stations. Zero Edo will make it to where they actually have traffic splines pulling into the gas station. They'll stop there at the pump, acting like they're filling up, and then drive away, kind of thing. You know, it's small things like that. On the map, the Green Valley, they have a turbine on the top of one of the smokestacks of a factory. And unless you're in third person, like the build menu, like this, and way up in the air, you wouldn't notice it was there. You would never know it was there. But if you see it, you see it. And it's awesome. Like, it's just those small little details that really make the difference. And yes, Zero Edo's maps are huge in size. They're huge in space for console players because of the slot counts and stuff like that. But that's okay in my opinion because those details matter. And if you look at a map like Frontier, again, another perfect example, the story that can be told. You look at Mr. Sealy P, he's telling a Let's Play a series on that. Now, the only thing that I can say about Zero Edo that drives me absolutely nuts is the fact that they play music on certain maps in certain areas of their maps. And the reason that it drives me nuts is because of the copyright issue. Because I'm a YouTuber, and I know Mr. CLP is doing things to kind of work his way around that, but because I'm a YouTuber and I'm so small of a channel, you know, I'm almost up to 800 subscribers, which is awesome. But in comparison to like a Mr. CLP with 100,000 subscribers, is it 100,000? I think it's 100,000. You know, I'm small. I'm a small fish in a big pond kind of thing, and I can't take the risk of doing a Let's Play series, which I would love to do. I would love to do one on Green Valley, Black River, Frontier, any one of those maps. Any one of them, I'd love to do a Let's Play series. I probably wouldn't do one on Frontier just because Mr. CLP is doing one right now. But it's one of those I just can't. I just can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't. Well, let me rephrase that. I can, but I can't take the risk of the channel. I just can't do that. It's one of those that if YouTube were to come after me for that reason, I'd lose the abilities to stream, or lose the ability to do anything like this, uh, to post content, whatever the punishment is for a copyright strike. Um, yeah, I just can't risk it. I just can't do it. But let's see. Uh, so yeah, that's a long-winded story of uh, yes, my favorites would not be the favorites that are in that video. And one day I will make another video, another top 10. It will be kind of a sequential kind of series, going through time kind of thing. I don't know if I'll do the same thing in regards to the Mass by Continent, because that was kind of less well received. Um, the top 10 map is by far my most viewed piece of content out there. Um, and I mean by far. I think the last I saw was up to like 16 or 17,000 views. I have no piece of content that even comes close to that. Not even like night and day difference. So that one there, that definitely I would consider redoing and kind of making a more up to date version. Let's see. Let's see. Lowen, it's Sunday. Yes. So I don't know why, but I think it's because, again, it's 1 o'clock in the morning here, and I haven't been to bed yet. It's just, I don't know why my brain just didn't pick up on that. Let's see. Angela, bro, I love you. I love you too. I'll throw out the I love yous. Hope you're having a great day so far. It's one of those, great day, great night, whatever and wherever your time is. I hope that everybody's having a fantastic night so far. Deco says, I can hear you. That's awesome. So yeah, and no black from Lowen. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that the screen didn't go out. So it must have been just something on my computer, or maybe something partially disconnected or something. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, it was I had sat up and adjusted from my chair, and all of a sudden it just the whole screen went black. So it's one of those, you just gotta love it. But like I said, it is 1:07 in the morning my time, and I have to be up in the morning. So I greatly appreciate everybody who stopped by. Deco, Jody, Angela, Lowen, everybody, thank you all so much for coming on, for hanging out, chatting with me tonight. It was a ball. I have so much fun coming on and hanging out with y'all. And yeah, I hope to see you all again next time. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did and you're not yet already, go ahead and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, comment, follow, do all the things the algorithms enjoy you doing that shows you're engaged with this channel, enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody here and everybody who listens has a fantastic day, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I hope everybody takes care.